Hi guys, this is Hirosaki. This story is all about what if Naruto was a Pokemon master wannabe. Naruto is a young trainer who wishes to become a Pokemon master. With his trusty Cyndaquil by his side, can he overcome the challenges he will face and make his dream a reality? Before we start, kindly like and subscribe to this channel and look over the description box for the author of this amazing storyline. Welcome aboard! Chapter 1, In the Beginning. One day, a youth from Pala Town was called to meet Professor Sarutobi, a renowned Pokemon researcher. When the youth arrived at Professor Sarutobi's Pokemon lab, a wonderful proposal awaited. There are 3 Pokemon here, you can have one. Go on, choose. The professor had told the youth. So, the youth chose between Eevee, Pikachu and Jigglypuff and picked the Pokemon that seemed best, Pikachu. Then along came a rival A. And immediately challenged the youth to a Pokemon battle, but the youth defeated A, showing great skill in doing so. After seeing how well the youth and that Pokemon battled, Professor Sarutobi knew he had found a great talent. The professor then gave the youth an important mission. That mission was to complete the Pokédex, a task that would require traveling through the entire Kanto region and catching all of the 150 kinds of Pokémon said to live there. With a heart full of passion, the youth set out on the journey. The youth had 2 goals in mind. The first was, of course, to complete the Pokédex. The other was to defeat Pokémon gym leaders throughout the Kanto region, triumph over the Pokémon League and become the Pokémon League champion. The road ahead would be long indeed, but the youth threw Pokeballs, caught Pokemon, and along with new friends began to make this dream a reality. At the first gym, the youth defeated the Pewter City gym leader Inoki. Then, at the second gym, the youth defeated the Cerulean City gym leader Zabuza Momochi. And at the third gym, the youth defeated the Vermilion City gym leader Tsukumo Hataki. Trusting in the strength of the Pokemon, the youth overcame each gym leader who stood in the way. But before long, a dark presence cast its shadow across this journey. That dark presence was Root, an evil organization that used Pokemon to do its dirty work as it plotted world domination. Root had even done away with a Marowak in Lavender Town, leaving trainers there heartbroken. The youth, along with those Pokemon, decided to put a stop to Root's crimes. Root had opened a game corner in Celadon City to raise money, and the youth discovered the Root hideout concealed in its basement. Gathering courage, the youth snuck into the hideout. Root was no match for the youth, whose bravery was fueled by good intentions, and step by step the youth approached the heart of the hideout. Deep inside the hideout, the youth faced off against Danzo, the Root boss. Danzo's Pokemon were known for their overwhelming strength, but still the youth pushed the Pokemon's powers to the limit and defeated Root's wicked leader. With Root defeated, the youth's glorious adventure resumed. Now the youth could do things like play the poke flute to wake a sleeping Snorlax or travel the cycling road on a bicycle. At the 4th gym, the youth defeated the Celadon City gym leader Tsunade. At the 5th gym, the youth defeated the Fuchsia City gym leader Orochimaru. But the youth's string of victories was once again cut short by Root. Root had taken over Saffron City and occupied Sylph Company, the Sylph Company, right at its center. Once again, the youth battled Danzo, the Root boss. By now, the youth had grown so much that Danzo was no match for the youth's powerful team of Pokemon. This time, Danzo admitted defeat and declared Root disbanded. Now the youth was unstoppable, defeating gyms left and right. At the 6th gym, the youth defeated the Saffron City gym leader Hayashi Hyuga. At the 7th gym, the youth defeated the Cinnabar Island gym leader Fugaku Uchiha. But on reaching the last gym, the Viridian City gym, the youth's heart skipped a beat. The gym leader was none other than Danzo, who planned to revive Root. The youth's victory was never in doubt in the final showdown with Danzo. With a passion for justice and trust in Pokemon, the youth crushed Danzo's villainous ambitions. Eventually, after emerging from the long and arduous victory road, the youth reached the Pokemon League. At long last, it was time to fulfill that early dream. The battles with the Elite Four were far from easy, but he managed to defeat all 4 of those powerful trainers. And finally, he reached the Pokemon League champion, who turned out to be his longtime rival, I had grown stronger over the course of the youth's journey, and nearly overwhelmed the youth. But the youth believed in those Pokemon, and fought with determination. And finally, victory was theirs. 30 years later. Sugoi, that was a great story, Oko-chan, a young Naruto Uzumaki said to his mother, Kushina Uzumaki. Kushina chuckled as she looked through the window at the night sky of the Johto region. Oko-chan, did you know the youth? Naruto asked his mother. His blonde locks were ruffled by his mother as she smiled at her son. Yes, I did, she said with far-off look in his eyes. His name was Minato Namikaze. You remind of him. Well, since I'm going to be 12 tomorrow, I can finally get my first Pokemon, Naruto said excitedly, and then I can be as strong as that Minato guy, and I'll be a Pokemon master. Of course, you will, Naruto-kun. So have you decided which of the 3 starters you are going to choose from Professor Irika? Kushina asked. Naruto nodded. Yup, but I want to be a surprise, so I won't tell you, Naruto said with a foxy grin. Kushina chuckled and then walked with Naruto towards the boys' room. Naruto then climbed into bed and smiled at his red-haired mother. I will be a Pokemon master, Oko-chan. You can count on it, Naruto said before his eyes began to droop before fully closing as he dreamed of Pokemon and the journey he would have starting tomorrow. Kushina smiled before kneeling down and kissing the blonde preteen on his forehead. Kabanwa, my little Naruto-kun. I'll miss you, Kushina said before walking away and turning off the lights before retiring to her room for sleep. They grow up so fast, she thought with a smile. A white-furred fox like Pokemon then ran up the stairs towards Kushina and rubbed its head up against her thigh. The Pokemon had 9 tails swishing behind it, each tipped with a reddish-orange color. Its blood-red eyes staring up at its trainer. It seems like yesterday we had begun our journey, Kyubi? Kushina asked the 9 tails. Kyubi, the 9 tails nodded before following Kushina to her room. Chapter 2, The First Steps. Naruto yawned as he rose from his bed, his alarm clock blaring loudly. Naruto blinked as the sun's golden rays shone in his eyes, and then he smiled as he scrambled out of bed. Today's the day, today's the day. He chanted as he ran into the bathroom to shower. After showering, he changed into his clothes that Kushina had chosen for him. It was a short-sleeved black t-shirt which was worn underneath an orange vest which had 2 vertical white stripes, one on the left and another on the right, the vest having a picture of a Pokeball on the back. He wore a pair of dark blue jeans which had a few pockets, and to complete the outfit was a pair of blue and orange sneakers. Finally, he tied the black headband with a red spiral on the front around his right arm. A sign that he graduated from the Pokemon Training Academy, which was located at the end of New Bark Town. Naruto then ran down the stairs and sat at the table as Kushina had breakfast waiting for him. Konnichiwa, Oko-chan, Kyubi, Naruto called out. Konnichiwa, Naruto-kun. Kushina smiled at her son as the blonde boy scarfed down the stack of pancakes on the table before him. 9 tails. Kyubi greeted as the male 9 tails nuzzled Naruto's leg. After eating, Naruto took his backpack from his mother and then went to walk over to the door. Remember, Professor Irika is just a few feet away from our house, so as soon as you get your starter Pokemon, come back and show it to me and Kyubi, Kushina said. Kyubi nodded, agreeing with his trainer. Naruto nodded to his mother and her Pokemon. Well, I'll see you soon then, Naruto said before walking out the door. Professor Irika Umano's laboratory was located directly in New Bark Town and was only a few seconds away from Naruto's house. Naruto then walked over to the lab and the doors slid open automatically. Naruto gazed in awe as he saw the rather large lab that doubled as a house for the young professor. Naruto then walked over to see a man dressed in a white lab coat over a dark blue shirt and a pair of brown pants with brown shoes. He had brown hair which was tied up into a ponytail and coal-black eyes and had a scar on his nose, either from a Pokemon scratching him or a birthmark, he wouldn't say where or how he got it. The man was hunched over a stack of papers which he was quickly looking through with calculating eyes. "Oh hey oh Professor Iruka!" Naruto yelled. The startled professor turned and glared at the blonde 12-year-old. "What the hell are you doing? Can't you see I'm busy with some important?" Iruka blinked. "Oh Naruto, it's just you. Well, at least you arrived on time. Your other classmates are waiting inside the other room." Iruka led the budding trainer into a room, whose doors slid open due to motion sensors and revealed a few other people around Naruto's age. Everyone was crowded with each other and looking at the Pokémon which were chosen to be starter Pokémon for the new trainers. Naruto walked over to the rest of the group. Well, if it isn't the dobe," a boy said. Naruto turned and glared at the opposing person. Kiba Inuzuka, Naruto's second most hated person on his list of people he wanted to completely crush in a Pokémon battle. Kiba had slightly spiky brown hair and black eyes and 2 tattoos in the shape of fang marks on his cheeks in red. He wore a pair of black pants and a gray hooded jacket over a fishnet shirt. "Kiba," Naruto growled. "Well, surprising to see you here. You managed to pass." "Bet it was just luck." "Yurasai Kiba, just you wait, I'll be the next Pokemon League champion and become a Pokemon master," Naruto roared. Kiba paused before laughing. "Haha, yeah right, you were one of the weakest in the Academy's mock battles," Kiba said. "You won't even make it to be a Pokemon master, let alone a trainer." Kiba laughed as Naruto clutched his hands into fists. "No. I won't mess this up. I have to control my anger, no matter how much I want to bash Kiba's face in," Naruto thought. He waited his entire life to become a trainer. A little temper tantrum, given it was Iruka, could ruin his chances to become a trainer. "We'll see," Naruto said before he turned and accidentally bumped into someone. "Gomen Nasai." Naruto looked up and then glared as he stared at the Academy's rookie trainer of the year. Sasuke Uchiha, a boy with slightly pale skin, completely coal black eyes and hair that looked like a pidgey's ass painted black and stuck on his head. He wore a pair of dark black pants, dark blue shoes and a white t-shirt beneath a dark blue and black jacket with a red and white fan on the back, the sign of the Uchiha. "HN," Sasuke said before turning away. "Dobe." Team Naruto growled. The two had always been rivals, or at least that was how Naruto saw it. Sasuke could have cared less about the blonde Uzumaki, but the black-haired boy saw something in Naruto that just made him want to battle with him. "Alright, everybody quiet down," Iruka yelled. The whole class of at least 30 people, since New Bark was such a small town, it was natural that it only had a small class of people, immediately quieted down before turning to look at the young Pokemon professor. "Alright, well, seeing as you all are now 12 years old, you are now eligible to become Pokemon trainers," Iruka said. "Remember, there are 2 paths one can choose, that is, to go and challenge the gym leaders of each of the 8 badge-carrying town and or cities and defeat their gym leaders to earn the badge of that town or city in order to join the Johto League's Silver Conference Championship battle and then battling the Pokemon League to become the Pokemon League champion, or you can collect 5 ribbons from certain towns or cities in Pokemon contests and then join the Grand Festival to become a top Pokemon coordinator." The boys and some of the girls smiled at the idea of being revered as the Pokemon League champion of the Johto region. However, most of the girls were imagining of becoming a top coordinator. Naruto smiled his foxy grin as he imagined being crowned the champion. It's not going to be an easy road, Naruto thought as he remembered the stories his mother has told him of her journeys with Kyuubi before losing to an unknown trainer. "But I will try my best," and Oka-chan said. "If I believe in my Pokemon and use my awesome skills, I can become the champion." Now then, Iruka then pressed a button and a large television screen was lowered from a slot in the ceiling. The screen flashed white before showing many different small screens showing different Pokemon battling each other. The ones with scarves around their necks were the chosen starter Pokemon. You can watch the screen and choose the Pokemon you want by looking at the separate screens that show the battling skills of each Pokemon. Everyone looked at the screen, everyone marveled at the skills before everyone began laughing as a small mouse-looking Pokemon which was pale yellow on its face and underside, it had a navy blue back and was the same color atop of its head. Its eyes were curved slits and 4 reddish-orange circles were on its back before they released sparks that ignited its entire back into flames. A Cyndaquil, it was battling with a Sentret and was losing. "Look, that weak thing that has to be the weakest out of all of them," many of the class said. Sasuke looked at it and scoffed. That weak thing will never be my partner. It may be a fire type, but it's a disgrace, the Uchiha said before turning away and looking at the screen which showed another Pokemon. Naruto looked at the Cyndaquil and saw as it was getting knocked down, gritting its teeth together as it refused to go down. Cyndaquil charged forwards using a tackle attack, but the Scentred hopped using its tail and leapt into the air before flipping and using the momentum to slam its tail down on Cyndaquil's head. Cyndaquil groaned, but due to its sheer will it was able to stand and a tackle allowed it to do damage to the sentry Pokemon. The battle continued for a while with Cyndaquil being on the offensive and managing to score a few blows, but the Scentred looked like it had enough and then avoided the tackle attack from the Fire Mouse before launching a final tackle attack that sent it into unconsciousness as it slammed into the training room's wall. Alright, well here are those Pokemon now. Irika then opened a small door and the small crowd of starter Pokemon walked in. Everyone chose theirs except for Naruto. Naruto looked to see everyone had chosen a Pokemon and the remaining one was Cyndaquil. The Fire Mouse Pokemon looked downcast as no one had chosen it. Naruto smirked before walking over to the fire type. Hey there, guess you're going to be my partner then, Naruto said with a foxy grin at the Pokemon. Cyndaquil looked at the blonde boy with a surprised look, its mouth open. Cyndaquil seemed a bit scared as it backed away, but Naruto grinned at the Fire Mouse. You're a fighter, I can see it in you and you got a lot of potential, Cyndaquil. So come on, how's about you me by Pokemon? Irika smiled as he saw Cyndaquil happily jump into Naruto's arms. Naruto, the brown-haired Pokemon professor, walked over to the duo. Naruto and Cyndaquil looked up at Irika. Hi, Professor Irika? Naruto asked. I'm glad you chose Cyndaquil. Everyone has been degrading the little guy. Irika patted the Pokemon on its head. He has always been picked on by the other Pokemon, but I can see its potential and I'm sure you can bring it out. Arigato, Professor Irika smiled as he saw Cyndaquil squeak in happiness before jumping atop his new trainer's head. Irika then cleared his throat before calling out to everyone. Alright everyone, since some parents have been concerned for their children's safeties, I have randomly selected each of you to be partnered with another student. Irika said, when I call your names, you will receive a Pokédex from me. I hope I get partnered with Sasuke-kun were the thoughts of the female population as they got hearts in their eyes as they gazed at the cool Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto grumbled as he glared at Sasuke. Alright, the first is Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke sighed as Sakura cheered. The rest of the Uchiha's fangirls glared at the pinkette. Sakura was a pink-haired girl with emerald green eyes and came at the top of her class due to her sheer brilliance in terms of Pokemon knowledge. She wore a red sleeveless top with a white circle on the back, a pair of tight black bike shorts and a pair of red and white sneakers. Her graduation headband being used as a hairband revealing her enormous forehead. Her chosen starter Pokemon was Chikorita, a grass-type Pokemon. Chikorita is a small green Pokemon which had a large leaf on its head and had red eyes full of happiness. Ha! True love conquers all. Sakura yelled. Sasuke sighed as he face-palmed. He then looked down at his starter who stared with pitiful eyes. The small blue bipedal crocodile had red scales trailing down its back to the tip of its tail, and also had red eyes. Two sharp fangs poked out from its upper jaw, its arms crossed. This was a Totodile, a water type. Why me? The raven-haired boy thought. The Totodile patted his trainer's leg as if to say, I pity you. Ah man, I wanted to be partnered with Sakura-chan. Naruto whined as he slumped his shoulders. On account of their parents, Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara and Choji Akimichi will be the only trio, Irika said. Ino had long platinum blonde hair, sky blue eyes and slightly tan skin. She wore a purple tank top and a purple skirt along with a pair of purple-pink sneakers. She had a grass-type Pokemon called Sunkern as her starter, which was a Pokemon that looked like a brown and yellow-colored sunflower seed and had a small green stem poking out of its bulbous head. Pure brown eyes looked around as it stood near its partner. Shikamaru was a boy with black hair tied up into a ponytail like Irika's, giving his head the look of a pineapple. He had black eyes and wore a black t-shirt, gray jeans, and wore a green jacket over his t-shirt and a pair of green and black sneakers. His starter was a large deer-looking Pokémon which was brown and white and had yellow horns that branched outwards from the side of its head, along with purple orb-like objects being placed in the horns. A Stantler was what this normal-type Pokémon was called. Shoji was a big-boned boy. Actually he is fat, but he doesn't like the use of him being called sad adjective. He had light brown hair and two swirl-like patterns painted onto his cheeks. He wore a tan-colored shirt with the kanji 4 food on it, along with a pair of baggy green jeans and brown boots. He had a bag of chips in his hands as his Caterpie, which was his chosen starter, a green bug-type Pokémon which resembled a caterpillar, with a pair of pinkish-red antennae and yellow circle-like markings along its sides and a yellow underbelly, rested atop his head. Its large black eyes shining in happiness as her partner handed her a chip. Kiba Inuzuka will be paired off with Shino Aburame. Irika called out the next team. Kiba had a Growlife, a red and white furred dog like Pokémon, whom he had immediately gotten along with and nicknamed Akamaru. Shino was a shady character who wore a large gray jacket, which had a picture of a few bug-type Pokémon on the back, that covered his mouth, and he wore a pair of dark glasses. He wore a pair of dark black pants and black sneakers. He had a small spider-like Pokémon which was green and had black markings that made a smiley face pattern on its abdomen. It had pink-colored pincers and 3 pairs of yellow legs with black stripes where the joints were located. It also had large black eyes. This was a Spinarak. Irika then called a few of the other teams before reaching the last one. The final team will be Hinata Hyuga and Naruto Uzumaki, the young professor announced. Naruto shrugged as he looked at his new traveling companion. Well, Cyndaquil, let's go say hi, the blonde said. The fire type nodded as he walked alongside his trainer. Naruto and Cyndaquil looked at the shy girl. Hinata was a pale girl with equally pale-looking eyes, so pale that they looked like they had no pupil. Her hair was a navy blue color that reached just below her neck. She wore a pair of dark blue skinny jeans and lavender shoes. She wore a black tank top that really hugged her surprising figure, but due to her timid nature she always hid it beneath a baggy cream-colored jacket. Beside her was a small dog-looking Pokémon. It was rather furry, covered in what seemed to be soft brown and white fur. Brown eyes stared at the duo of Naruto and Cyndaquil. This was Eevee. Oh hey, oh Hinata-chan. I guess we're partners, Naruto said. He then picked up Cyndaquil, who took his spot on the head of the blonde. This is my partner Cyndaquil. Cynda. The mouse Pokémon greeted. Eevee and Hinata looked away, apparently like trainer, like Pokémon. Oh heyo, and then Naruto-kun, this is my P-partner, she is an Eevee, Hinata greeted. Eevee the small dog like Pokémon greeted. So Hinata-chan, what are you doing? What do you mean? I mean, are you going to become a coordinator or aim for the Pokemon League like me? Naruto asked. Hinata and Eevee looked at each other. Well, I want TT to be a C coordinator, she said, looking down with a slight blush as she was actually holding a conversation with her crush. Alright, well Hinata-chan, since you and Eevee will be traveling with Cyndaquil and I, there is one thing I need you to do for me? The blonde said. Hinata looked oddly at Naruto. The bluish-black-haired girl tilted her head in confusion. I need you to stop stuttering, he said. You need to boost your confidence, but I'm sure during our journey we'll get rid of that, okay? Hi, she said. Eevee nodded before Cyndaquil dropped down and held out a paw. Eevee stared at Cyndaquil with a confused look before holding out her own paw. Cyndaquil shook it with a smile, causing Eevee to slightly smile as well. After that, everyone went and got their Pokédex. Yes. Okay you guys, your Pokédex is a handheld encyclopedia to record the information on Pokémon you have seen and caught. The information will show up when you have caught a Pokémon, not when you have only seen it.
It will show the amount of Pokémon you have seen as well as the amount you have caught.
There are 256 Pokémon that make up the Johto and Kanto regions. Combined as Pokémon from Kanto often migrate to this region since the two are joined together. The goal I want every one of you to do is to complete this Pokédex, for it is necessary in my research of Pokémon evolution, Irika explained. Naruto's Pokédex was orange and Hinata's was lavender. Everyone immediately rushed out of the lab and left to start their journey into the world of Pokémon. However, Hinata, Naruto, Cyndaquil and Eevee were about to leave when they saw the young Pokémon professor talking on his Pokegear, a handheld device that acted as a radio, phone, and map when these data cards were placed into the Pokegear.
Ah, yes, I understand, but I'm busy right now and I can't. Irika then turned to see Naruto and Hinata still there and about to walk out.
Actually, hold on, I have two people right here who would be willing to do it, Mr. Pokmon, Irika said.
Great, I'll send them immediately. Immediately. Naruto, Hinata. Irika called out. The blonde and blue-annette turned to face the young professor. Hi, Professor Irika? They asked.
I just got a call from one of my friends, he goes by the name Mr. Pokmon. He lives north of Cherry Grove City and he wants me to go get something from him to bring back to the lab, but I'm too busy, so I was wondering if you two would do it for me?
Hi, Professor, the two trainers said. Come on, Cyndaquil, Ikuzo. Naruto said energetically before leaving the lab with Cyndaquil running beside him. Hinata and Eevee following behind him. Naruto and Cyndaquil paused though, which caused Hinata to bump into him. Why did you stop, and Naruto-kun? She asked. I forgot, I need to go home and show Okachan my new starter Pokemon. Wanna come? The blonde asked his traveling companion. Sure, Hinata replied with a small smile. Naruto nodded before the two walked over to the house. As they entered, Kushina and Kyubi were already waiting. Oh, Naruto-kun, how was it? Did you pick your starter Pokemon? Hi Okachan, this is Cyndaquil, Naruto said as he showed her the fire type. Oh, a fire type.
Good pick, fire types are the best, Kushina said as she patted the mouse Pokemon.
Kyubi nodded as he walked over to the fellow Pokemon. 9. The fox Pokemon greeted, extending a tail. Cyndaquil grabbed the tail and shook it. Cynda. Oh, and who is your friend, this your girlfriend? Kushina asked with a sly smirk. Naruto and Hinata blushed, but they both shook their heads. No, Okachan.
Professor Irika said how that some parents were concerned for their children, so he had a buddy system and he paired me off with Hinata-chan, he explained. I see, well okay. Kushina then walked to Hinata and whispered in her ear. You're a nice girl, please treat my Naruto-kun well. Hinata blushed again, but nodded. Alright, I almost forgot. Kushina walked towards the kitchen counter and picked up a dark blue and white Pokegear. Your Pokegear returned from the repair shop. I already installed the phone and map cards into it, the red-haired Uzumaki said. Naruto took the device from her and thanked his mother. Well, I'm off, Okachan, Naruto said. Kushina nodded and then kissed her only son on his cheek. I'll see you when you become a Pokemon champion, she said. Naruto nodded and then he and Cyndaquil along with Hinata and Eevee left the Uzumaki household. Kushina sighed as she watched yet another retreating back of another blonde-haired man. Oh Minato-kun, if you could see your son starting his journey. I hope you're okay wherever you are, Kushina said as she sat down and petted Kyubi's mane. The two trainers and their starters, which were left out of their Pokeballs, walked out of New Barktown and into the grassy area of Route 29. As the two walked through, Naruto spotted movement in the grass and saw a Scentret pop out. Cyndaquil growled as he faced off against the Pokemon. After all, having lost to the Scentret in the lab's training room really had the fire type create a dislike for this type of Pokemon. Okay Cyndaquil, let's go, you seem fired up, Naruto said. Naruto took out his Pokédex, which showed his Pokemon's level and the amount of experience it needed to gain to reach its next level.
Right now, Cyndaquil was at level 5. Cyndaquil nodded as his back flared up. Alright, tackle attack, Naruto shouted. Cyndaquil nodded and rushed forwards and made direct contact that caused the Sentret to be sent skidding backwards. The Scout Pokemon then stood up on its tail and glared at the fire type. The normal type then charged forward and tried to use its own tackle attack. Dodge it, Naruto commanded, then counter with tackle again. Cyndaquil did as instructed and then jumped to the side to avoid and then crashed headfirst into Sentret's back, sending it to the ground and unconscious. Naruto and Cyndaquil cheered and a small blue bar raced across the screen of the Pokédex as Cyndaquil gained experience. After continuing to walk through the grass, Naruto and eventually Hinata, after much persuasion from her blonde friend, battled Pokémon on the way to Cherry Grove City. Cyndaquil and Eevee both growing to level 6, and Cyndaquil learning its second attack Smokescreen, but their health being low as a result. So, they went into the Pokémon Center at Cherry Grove City. "Oh heyo, I am Nurse Shizune, how may I help you?" the black-haired woman asked. "Hi, can you heal our Pokémon please?" Naruto asked as he and Hinata handed the nurse their Pokémon. "Of course, it will be done in just a few moments," Shizune said with a smile before taking the two and then putting them in a high-tech looking machine. The machine glowed with a white light before the two previously tired Pokémon came out as good as new. "Sugoi," Naruto and Hinata said in awe at how quick Cyndaquil and Eevee were healed. The two bowed. "Arigato Shizune-san," they said. Johnny, the two preteens then left the Pokémon Center and continued on their way to Mr. Pokmon's house. After much walking and a few battles, the two were able to reach the pink-roofed house. They entered the house and saw a man wearing a business suit. He was aged, having a graying mustache. Hello, I am Mr. Pokmon. I assume you are the two youngsters my friend Professor Irika sent to retrieve the parcel?" Mr. Pokmon asked. Naruto and Hinata nodded. However, before anything could continue, an elderly man with completely gray hair, his hairline already receding, brown skin covered in liver spots and wore a brown shirt and black pants along with black shoes and a brown jacket coat worn over the shirt, walked up to the two young trainers. "You two, you are both trainers, right?" the old man asked. Naruto and Hinata nodded. "Hi, I'm gonna be a Pokemon master and become the new Pokemon League champion," Naruto said proudly. I want to be a top coordinator," Hinata said, mentally cheering for herself as she barely stuttered. The old man before them stared at them and then looked at their Pokemon and jumped back in surprise. "These are surprisingly rare Pokemon, and you have the eyes of people who care deeply for your Pokemon even though you have just met them," the man said. "Who are you?" Naruto asked. The old man chuckled. "I'm Professor Hiruzen Sarutobi, from the Kanto region." Naruto and Hinata became slack-jawed. "You mean the Pokemon Professor, creator of the Pokédex?" Naruto and Hinata exclaimed. Sarutobi nodded. "Hi, I came here to visit my old friend Mr. Pokmon and also to extend my research. I also have a radio show here in Johto taking place in Goldenrod City. Should you two come to that city, drop by the radio station when you have time." "Hi," the two young trainers said. Sarutobi nodded and then left the room. Mr. Pokmon chuckled. "That's Sarutobi, always such a busy man. Anyways, back to the matter at hand, I have a friend from another region who sent me this gift in hopes that I would be able to know what it is. It seems to be an egg, so I want you two to take this back to Professor Irika. He has been studying Pokemon evolution and might know something about this egg." Mr. Pokmon handed the egg to Naruto. The egg was a large egg, a bit bigger than a Pidgeyspotty. It was patterned by red and blue triangles. "Hi, we will take good care of it," Naruto said. Hinata nodded and the two starter Pokemon nodded also before the four left Mr. Pokmon's house. After leaving, they went back towards Cherry Grove City and battled some Caterpie, Pidgey and Sentret as well as a couple of Spinarak along the way.
both Eevee and Cyndaquil gaining experience and easily growing to level 9 along the way. Eevee had learned Sand Attack as a consolation. The two trainers and their Pokémon then walked towards the Pokémon Center and healed their Pokémon before heading back towards New Bark, but were stopped when they saw two familiar faces. Sakura-chan, Sasuke team, Naruto greeted, smiling at the pinkette and scowling at Sasuke's. The pink-haired trainer growled as hit Naruto in the head with her fist.
Don't insult Sasuke-kun, the green eyes girl growled.
She then turned to Hinata and did a complete 180 as she spoke nicely.
Hey there Hinata, is Naruto Baka here treating you wrongly? Sakura asked. It must be a shame to be partnered with a baka like him and his weak little Cyndaquil. Naruto and Cyndaquil looked shocked before frowning at the verbal abuse they received. SS Sakura-cha, they didn't do anything. And Naruto-kun has been helping me in getting EVSS stronger for when I do my first CC contest in Violet City, Hinata explained. Sasuke scoffed at that. HN, the dobe helping someone get stronger, that's a first.
Oh yeah team, well let's battle right here, right now. Sasuke smirked and then Totodile, who was standing beside his trainer, walked forwards.
My Totodile will easily defeat your weak Cyndaquil. Didn't you see how easily it was beaten by that Scentret? The Uchiha asked with pure arrogance in his tone. Naruto and Cyndaquil glared at their rivals. We'll take you down, Cyndaquil, tackle attack. Naruto commanded. Cyndaquil nodded and then charged forward.
Dodge and then counter with Scratch,
Sasuke said.
Totodile then sidestepped the charging fire type before its claws raked down the side of Cyndaquil's body, and then it spun and slammed its thick tail against Cyndaquil, sending the fire type skidding away.
However, Cyndaquil charged forward using another tackle. Alright Cyndaquil, jump and slam down on that blue crocodile, Naruto commanded. The mouse Pokemon nodded and jumped into the air and dove downwards. Totodile use growl.
Sasuke yelled. The Cyndaquil was coming down too fast to avoid, so he lowered the attack power with growl and it caused Totodile to come out with minimal damage.
Use Scratch.
Totodile scored a hit, but Cyndaquil quickly recovered.
Tackle attack.
The mouse and Big Jaw Pokemon collided with each other before Naruto smirked as he saw a bead of sweat on the side of Totodile's face. Totodile quickly ran forward and released used Scratch that sent Cyndaquil to the side, but Naruto smirked as he saw how close together the fire and water type Pokemon were.
A plan immediately sprang into action. Cyndaquil, smokescreen, Naruto yelled. Cyndaquil nodded and caught both trainer and Pokemon off guard as Sasuke's vision of his Pokemon was lost.
Cyndaquil and Totodile in the black smoke that came from the mouse Pokemon's mouth looked at each other.
However, Cyndaquil was granted better visibility in these conditions, being a fire type.
Finish it, tackle attack,
Naruto roared.
Cyndaquil then rushed forward and hit Totodile with a powerful full-body tackle that sent the blue crocodile flying through the air and skidding towards Sasuke's feet. Totodile grunted in pain, but fell back down as he tried to stand. Swirls in his eyes indicating that he fainted.
We did it!
Naruto yelled in victory as he hugged his starter. Good job, Naruto-kun, Hinata congratulated softly.
Naruto smirked. Well, I guess that training along the way to Mr. Pokmon's house helped, huh, Hinata-chan? Impossible. Sakura yelled, you cheated against Sasuke-kun. Naruto-kun, did not cheat Sakura. Sasuke just lost because Naruto-kun is a better TT trainer, Hinata said. Sakura glared at Naruto before looking at Sasuke. Are you okay, Sasuke-kun? She asked. Urasai, you're annoying.
I should be working by myself, your contest shit will only slow me down. The raven-haired boy walked away towards the Pokemon Center with Totodile in hand. The dobe, I lost to him, I need to get more powerful Pokemon, the Uchiha thought as Sakura somberly walked behind him.
Well come on, we gotta go, Naruto said.
Hinata nodded and the two continued to go towards New Barktown and in order to reach their faster fled potential opponents and quickly return to New Barktown.
Pokemon Lab of Professor Iruka. Professor, we're back. Naruto announced. Ah, Naruto, Hinata. Good to see you and your Pokemon are alright, Iruka said, but then noticed Cyndaquil was slightly exhausted. Naruto, is Cyndaquil alright? Iruka asked. Naruto nodded as Iruka healed the young starter. Hi, but he got a bit tired from when we kicked Sasuke's ass, Naruto said with a smirk. You beat Sasuke? Iruka asked. Hi, Sasuke thinks the world should be handed to him on a silver platter and he doesn't need to train. I fought Pokemon along with Hinata-chan and we trained and I managed to kick Sasuke where it hurts, his pride, Naruto said with ice blue eyes full of determination. Iruka smirked. Well then, congratulations. Now what is it that Mr. Pokmon wanted me to see? The young professor asked. Oh right, Naruto dropped his bag on the ground and took out the Pokemon egg. Here you go. Iruka's eyes widened and he stepped back in surprise. Sugoi, a Pokemon egg. I will research on this right away. Oh, by the way, do either of you have Pokegears? Naruto and Hinata nodded and showed him the pocket-sized devices. Good, well let me just see them for a second. He swiped the two Pokegears from the trainers and then typed a few buttons before handing them back. What did you do? Naruto asked. I added my number to your contact list in the phone of your Pokegear, Iruka explained with a smile. Why? Hinata asked. So that I'll be able to contact my most trusted students. You too, Naruto, Hinata, you two have a certain quality about you that makes me confident in that you will be able to accomplish your dream. Now then, both of you, a little heads up. Naruto, there is a gym in Violet City and a Pokemon contest is said to also be taking place there in 2 days from now, the brown-haired Pokemon professor said. Arigato, Professor, Hinata said. That II information really helps. No problem, and call me when you get rid of that stuttering. I want to know when you do, he said with a chuckle. Naruto laughed along with Eevee and Cyndaquil while Hinata blushed lightly at the joke. I will, Professor, she managed to say without stuttering. Iruka smiled. Well, you two had forgotten, but Naruto, here is a badge case for you along with your trainer card to I.du for when you want to do certain things, and here's a trainer card and a ribbon case for you, Hinata. Oh, and 5 Pokeballs for each of you, Iruka said. Arigato, the two young trainers said and took the items and put them away in their bags. The two then left the lab and went towards Route 29. Well, Hinata-chan, now that we have Pokeballs we can catch Pokemon, he said happily. Cyndaquil's back ignited to show his enthusiasm and Eevee and Hinata chuckled at the two males. Eevee, we should get some new friends also. Hinata said. Naruto and Cyndaquil then smiled as they saw a potential team member. A brown and white feathered bird Pokemon jumped out of the grass and looked at the blonde and the fire type. Hey, a Pidgey, let's catch it, Cyndaquil. Naruto said. Cinda. The fire type's back burst into flames, ready to fight. The Pidgey glared at the two trainers and then flapped its wings and took to the air, ready to fight. The tiny bird Pokemon then swooped down and used Tackle. It's using Tackle, quick, Cyndaquil dodge and then use Smokescreen to block its vision. Cyndaquil nodded before jumping into the air and then breathed a black column of smoke from his mouth. Pidgey froze, not knowing where to go in the thick smog. Tackle it now. Cyndaquil then appeared out of nowhere and hit Pidgey in the side, sending the Pokemon to the ground. The flying type, by Naruto's Pokédex, was only at level 3, but Naruto saw the fierce look in its eyes. A look that said it would be stronger in the near future. Naruto then took out a Pokeball from his bag and threw it. Pokeball go! The red and white orb sailed through the air and hit the flying type in its head. Pidgey then glowed red before being sucked into the Pokeball. The Pokeball tilted 3 times before becoming motionless. Sugoi, we did it! Naruto yelled, our first catch.
He then ran over and hugged Hinata out of the sheer joy and caused Hinata to nearly faint. Same went for Eevee and Cyndaquil since the evolution Pokemon was still shy and not used to physical contact. Naruto's Pokédex suddenly beeped and Naruto, who was currently holding the Pokédex, looked at it as the information of Pidgey appeared. Pidgey, the tiny bird Pokemon. A normal and flying type Pokemon. It usually hides in tall grass, but it dislikes fighting. It protects itself by kicking up sand. Naruto closed the Pokédex and pocketed the Pokemon encyclopedia. Alright Hinata-chan, now that I've caught my first Pokemon, it's your turn, the blonde said, and then the two continued to walk through the grass. They had almost reached Cherry Grove City once more when a small raccoon-like Pokemon appeared. The Sentret stood atop its tail as Hinata sent Eevee out to battle. Hey, alright Eevee, time to get a new TT team member, she said with as much confidence as she could muster. The Sentret saw Eevee charging towards it before smirking and jumping over the evolution Pokemon. Eevee skidded to a halt as Sentret landed back on the ground and then used its tackle attack, sending Eevee backwards. I can't even catch a Sentret, I am such a failure, Hinata sighed as she watched Eevee try to beat the ever-elusive Pokemon. However, she was shocked as she felt a strong grip on her shoulders. She looked up, her pale lavender eyes staring into Naruto's icy blue ones. Listen to me Hinata-chan, you are not a failure. The only reason why you seem to be weak is because you have no confidence in your abilities. It took you a while, but on our way to Mr. Pokmon's house, you were able to beat Pokemon left, right and center. Naruto smiled. You're not weak, Cyndaquil thinks so too, right? Naruto said. The fire mouse nodded. Cinda. The fire type said its own word of encouragement. Hinata closed her eyes and nodded before they snapped open, full of determination. I'll try my best, she said. There is no try in this world, you either do or do not, Naruto said, and you will do. Hinata smirked and nodded before she looked at the sentry Pokemon. Alright Eevee, tackle attack. Hinata yelled. Eevee nodded and charged forward, but Sentret jumped into the air and flipped before slamming its tail down on Eevee's head. However, being a higher level, the stronger of the normal types held firm. Now quick, bounce it back and then use sand attack. Eevee nodded before pushing back against the tail that rested atop its head and sent Sentret back. Sentret growled before trying to use tackle attack, but Eevee quickly turned around and began to kick up sand with her back feet. Sentret was then lowered in visibility and accuracy before trying a blind tackle attack. Dodge it and then use your own tackle. Hinata yelled. V. The evolution Pokemon leapt to the side and then crashed its body against Sentret, sending it to the ground. One more time Eevee charged and scored a second hit, weakening the Sentret as it rolled on the ground. Hinata then reached into her bag and pulled out a Pokeball. Alright, here we go. She threw the red and white Pokemon capturing device as it bounced on Sentret's back. Sentret became red-colored energy before being sucked into the open ball. The Pokeball then fell to the ground and tilted on the ground. After 3 tilts, the ball became motionless. I did it, she said with a smile, I did it. Naruto patted her on the back and watched as Eevee ran over to her with the Pokeball that held Sentret. Hinata's Pokédex beeped as she received the information on her first caught Pokemon. She looked at the lavender-colored device. Sentret, the scout Pokemon. A normal-type Pokemon. A very cautious Pokemon, it raises itself up using its tail to get a better view of its surroundings. Good job, Hinata-chan. Now we're one step closer to achieving our dreams, the blonde trainer said with his foxy grin. Hinata nodded and the 2 trainers then continued to walk through the grass as they went towards Cherry Grove City. After reaching the city and training their new partners along the way, Pidgey was able to grow to level 4 and Sentret grew to level 4 also. The 2 then healed their Pokemon in the Pokemon Center. After that they left the Pokemon Center and the traveling partners looked at each other as they planned their next move. So, what do we do now?
The Blueanet asked.
Naruto pulled out his Pokegear and looked at the map card. Well, the map shows that the closest town with a gym is Violet City, and Professor Irika also said there was going to be contest there 2 days from now, Naruto said as he remembered what the scar-nosed professor said.
Then, let's go, Hinata said with a smile. Naruto and Cyndaquil nodded. To Violet City,
he shouted as he ran towards Route 30.
Cyndaquil. The Fire Mouse Pokemon squeaked as it ran after its trainer. And Naruto Kun, Mateo. EVE. Chapter 3, Triumphant Loss.
Naruto and Hinata were walking along Route 30, passing through the grass when Hinata spied something out of the corner of her eyes. Evie looked at her trainer in confusion before looking at where Hinata was looking.
Naruto-kun, see, could you wait for a while? I think I saw something in those bushes, the pale-eyed girl said. Naruto and Cyndaquil looked at each other before shrugging. Sure, let's check it out, the blonde Uzumaki agreed. The two preteens and their Pokemon partners walked in the direction east of where they were going before they saw two trainers. One had a purple and white rat-like Pokemon, known as Rattata, and the other had a Pidgey. Both were grinning as they were fighting a defenseless little Caterpie. The bug-type Pokemon was being double-teamed as the two Pokemon used a continuous barrage of tackle attacks, sending it sprawling on the ground. It tried to use String Shot to defend itself when it had the chance, but when it tried to attack one, the other appeared and attacked it. Hinata and Naruto gaped in shock as they saw the boys, both around their age, doing such a cruel act. That's such a cruel thing to do to that Caterpie. Hinata glared at them before an afterthought followed. If I could catch the Caterpie, I could get a Butterfree to help with my contests. Naruto-kun, we have to help that Caterpie, she said. Naruto nodded and he and Cyndaquil along with Hinata and Eevee walked over to the two youngsters. Oi, who are you and what the hell do you think you're doing? Naruto roared in anger. The two boys, both wearing similar outfits of a blue cap, yellow t-shirts and navy blue pants with blue sneakers, turned to face the blonde and Blueant. I'm Tommy and this is my brother, Jimmy. Who are you guys? That DD doesn't matter, now leave that poor Caterpie alone, Hinata ordered with anger in her eyes. Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil spoke as his back burst into flames to give his anger a physical form. EVV. Eevee cried out in anger towards the trainers. Why should we? This weak little Pokemon is used to train our own Pokemon. Yeah, but it's 2-on-1, that's not fair. The blonde trainer said. Life isn't fair, one of the two trainers yelled. Now get out of the way. The Rattata was about to attack when Cyndaquil jumped in front of the bug-type Pokemon and tackled the small rodent back. Eevee joined in also. Alright, listen, we'll battle you, if you lose you leave CC Caterpie alone, Hinata said without stuttering. Naruto smirked. Hinata's confidence was already growing, her stuttering was almost nearly gone. And if we win? That won't happen, Naruto growled as he and Hinata faced off against the two other trainers. The twins smirked and nodded to each other. The green caterpillar Pokemon lay there on the grass in surprise at seeing two humans defend it, especially the blue-haired one. Alright, Rattata, let's do this. Crush them, Pidgey. The two Pokemon gave out battle cries as they faced off against Naruto's Cyndaquil and Hinata's Eevee. Cyndaquil, Eevee, let's do this. Naruto and Hinata commanded. V. The evolution Pokemon crouched low ready to battle. Quill and the flames on Cyndaquil's back blazed to life. Pidgey used tackle, Tommy yelled and the tiny bird Pokemon flew down aiming to strike Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil used smokescreen. Naruto yelled. Black plumes of smoke flew from Cyndaquil's mouth. Now Eevee used tackle. Hinata ordered. The brown and white furred creature nodded and then charged into the smoke and smacked into Pidgey, sending both of them out of the ebony smoke cloud, and both rolled on the ground. Use Scratch, Rattata. The claws of the rat Pokemon slashed Eevee's face and sent her skidding backwards. Now follow up with a tackle attack. The purple and white rat charged forward towards EV. You use tackle 2 Pidgey. The dual-type bird Pokemon flew towards EV. Cyndaquil, quick take the hit for EV. Naruto yelled. Nanny! The 3 trainers yelled as they watched Cyndaquil jump in front of EV without regard for its own safety and took the tackle attack from the Rattata. Cyndaquil flew away, over EV's head and managed to flip and land firmly on his feet. Naruto-kun WWI? You're my friend Hinata-chan, and so is EV. Cyndaquil and I won't let you both get hurt, Naruto said with a smirk. Cyndaquil, use Leer then use tackle on both of them. Cyndaquil glared at the Pidgey and Rattata as the two flinched, lowering their defense before Cyndaquil charged forward and slammed his body full force against the 2 Pokemon. EV used Sand Attack to blind them before using tackle as well. Hinata said. EV nodded and then turned around and used its back feet to kick up sand into the eyes of the bird and rat Pokemon. Then EV used a full body tackle, sending the Pidgey and Rattata to the ground. The 2 Pokemon fainted as a result. Naruto and Hinata took out their Pokédexes and smiled as they watched on the screens as the blue experience point bars of their Pokemon increased. Cyndaquil and EV reached level 10. We did it! And then in their cheering they changed to surprised looks as Cyndaquil's flames burned brighter and then small balls of flame flew out of his mouth and into the blue depths of the sky. WW was that? As she watched Cyndaquil's back flames return to its usual intensity before being snuffed out. Yada, Cyndaquil, you learn Ember. Naruto said as he grabbed his Pokemon and hugged it. Cyndaquil looked in awe as he saw the small balls of fire fly through the air upwards into the sky before being reduced to, well, embers. Cyndaquil! The fire type exclaimed in what could only be described as joy. You got lucky, we'll cream you too the next time we meet, the twins of Tommy and Jimmy declared. In your dreams, Naruto said as he stuck out his tongue at them. The 2 brothers fled the scene and Hinata and EV walked towards the badly damaged Pokemon. Caterpie shrunk away as Hinata knelt down, but then calmed as she began to pet it gently. Are you okay, little one? She asked in a soothing voice. The little bug type stared up at her with large black eyes and gave what seemed to be a nod before nuzzling her neck, causing the girl to giggle from the contact. Naruto and Cyndaquil smirked at the sight. Hinata then took out a potion from her bag and sprayed it, healing the bug type. SSO, see Caterpie, do you want to join my team? She asked the bug type. The green worm Pokemon's eyes changed into upside downs, indicating it was smiling before jumping up and down in excitement. I'll take that as a yes, she said, and then took out one of the 4 remaining Pokeballs in her bag and opened it, sucking in Caterpie as red energy. Her Pokédex beeped as she received Caterpie's data from it being caught. Caterpie, the worm Pokemon. A bug-type Pokemon. For protection, it releases a horrible stench from the antennae on its head to drive away enemies. Hinata then scanned the Pokeball and found that Caterpie was at level 4. You'll be an excellent trainer for Caterpie, Hinata-chan, Naruto said as he helped her up. The Blueonette nodded, as she blushed from the contact between her and Naruto. Arigato, Naruto-kun, and now then let's go to Violet City, Hinata said. Naruto nodded as the 2 continued the trek through Route 30. The 2 trainers continued to walk through the grass, battling the trainers and wild Pokemon that crossed their path using their newly acquired Pokemon, namely Naruto's Pidgey and Hinata's Sentret and sometimes her Caterpie. Naruto also managed to catch a Rattata, Weedle, Caterpie, Spinarak and a Sentret, the 2 normal types being at level 5 and the bug types at level 4. The Sentret being sent to the PC box for storage. He read their data as he caught them. Rattata, the mouse Pokemon. A normal type Pokemon. It eats anything. Wherever food is available, it will settle down and produce offspring continuously. Spinarak, the string spit Pokemon. A bug and poison type Pokemon. It lies still in the same pose for days in its web,
waiting for its unsuspecting prey to wander close.
Weedle, the Weedle Pokemon. A bug-type Pokemon. Its poison stinger is very powerful. Its bright-colored body is intended to warn off its enemies. However, he said they wouldn't be permanent members. Why not Naruto-kun? Hinata asked. Her stuttering was slowly going away. Apparently the few hours with Naruto was able to do a lot for that aspect of her personality. Because, Oka-chan always told me I should have a balanced team, and now my team is made up of mostly normal types. I want better Pokemon, although Rattata, Sentret and Spinarak will be able to help me in the journey, Naruto explained. Hinata nodded in understanding. He wasn't being cruel or judgmental of his new team members, just thinking about the welfare of his team. After that they arrived at the gate to Violet City. Well, we finally made it, Ikuzo, Naruto said. The two trainers and their main partners then walked through the gates to the first stepping stone of their journey. Violet City. Upon entry, the two trainers and their starters looked around and noticed quite a number of people in the rather small town. Sugoi, that's a lot of people, Naruto said in awe. They are probably here to see the P-Pokemon contest that WW will be here. It's 2 days from now, remember? Hinata reminded her blonde traveling companion. Oh yeah, Naruto said. He then spotted the Pokemon Center and the two trainers walked towards it to heal their Pokemon. They entered the Pokemon Center and spotted a familiar raven-haired woman behind the counter. Oi, Nurse Shizune, Naruto called out. Shizune looked up from her computer behind her desk and looked confused. Ohio, do I know you? Shizune asked. It's me, Naruto, and Hinata, he said, pointing at the less timid girl. You treated our Pokemon back in Cherry Grove, though I wonder how you got here so fast? The raven-haired nurse chuckled. Oh, you must mean my cousin. I'm the Violet City, Shizune. All of my cousins throughout the region all look alike. Shizune pulled out a photo of all her relatives. It was like a clone army of the raven-haired Pokemon nurse when you looked at it. The only difference being the color of the crosses on their nurse hats. Sugoi, you all look so alike, Naruto and Hinata whispered. So then, how may I help you? Would you like me to heal your Pokemon? She asked. Naruto and Hinata nodded before giving her Cyndaquil, Eevee and their other Pokemon that were in their Pokeballs. After a few seconds from putting the Pokemon in the healing machine, the Pokemon were back to full strength. There you go, all healed and ready to go, and if you want to register for the contest, you can talk with me, Shizune said with a bow. Hinata's eyes widened at that. WWL, Nurse Shizune, I want to join the contest, Hinata said as she poked her index fingers together. Hi, well just hand me your trainer ID card and your Pokédex, the nurse said with a smile. The bluish-haired girl handed the items to the Pokemon healer before she put them in slots in the computer. Nurse Shizune typed on the computer before pressing one final button and then a green light flashed on the computer. Shizune removed the trainer card and the Pokédex from the computer and handed them both back to Hinata. Well then, Miss Hyuga, here you go. You are all signed up and registered as a Pokemon coordinator, the raven-haired nurse said. Arigato, Nurse Shizune, the Hyuga said with a bow. Please visit us again, soon, she said as she waved goodbye to them. After exiting the Pokemon Center, Naruto was suddenly pushed aside by a young trainer. Oi, watch where you're. Whoa, Naruto's eyes widened as the trainer paused, allowing Naruto to get an eyeful of the young trainer's Rattata. The Pokemon was covered in bruises and dust and it was twitching from pain. What happened? Naruto asked. That gym leader, he is a really tough one. He uses flying-type Pokemon and he completely annihilated me, the trainer said. Wow, then I guess I'll have to train really hard then, but where? The trainer pointed to a large wooden structure that looked like a traditional Japanese building, with a purple-tiled roof to separate each floor of the tower. You can train there, in Sprout Tower. The monks there all use Bellsprout,
Bellsprout, and they allow you to battle all their trainers, and if you make it to the top, they'll give you a technical move or TM for short, the trainer said.
Sugoi, have you done it? Naruto asked.
I haven't been able to make it past the second floor, but I hear the move is very useful, the trainer said before rushing away to heal his Rattata.
Are you really going to go to Sprout Tower? Hinata asked. Naruto nodded, determination in his icy blue eyes.
Hi, if there's not much place to train for a gym battle then there, Naruto said. Cyndaquil and Pidgey would have to be the ones to fight those monks though. That guy before told me how they all use Bellsprout.
Well, Eevee and I have to train for the CC contest, so I won't be able to accompany you to see you battle, the Hyuga said with downcast look. Please don't be mad. I'm not mad. You have your things to do and I have mine.
Now train hard and remember, you must always be confident and I'll be cheering for you in those stands, Naruto said with his trademark foxy grin displayed on his face.
Hinata blushed, but nodded. I'll be cheering you on in your gym battle, Hinata said with a small smile.
Naruto nodded and then waved to her as he walked towards the tower. Gianni, he said, and then he and Cyndaquil raced towards the towering structure while Hinata and Eevee went towards a small area they had spotted a while ago upon entering the city. Sprout Tower. Naruto stood at the foot of the great piece of wooden infrastructure and could only gaze in awe at its height and bulk.
Sugoi.
Cinda trainer and Pokémon looked at each other.
Let's go, Naruto said as he and Cyndaquil walked through the doors. Upon entering they saw the area looked like the inside of a dojo.
Many wooden planks made up the floor and walls of the tower, but one huge pillar made up the support column of Sprout Tower. He saw it shifting from side to side and wondered what was going on. He walked up to a woman standing near the pillar.
Excuse me, miss? Naruto asked, but what is going on that the pillar is shaking?
Oh, the woman said as she turned towards the blonde trainer, the pillar is shaking from the intensity of whatever battles are taking place on the upper levels.
Naruto thanked the woman and left.
Naruto then walked towards the first monk he saw and smiled. You there, I am Naruto Uzumaki and I challenge the Sprout Tower. The blonde declared.
Cyndaquil.
Cyndaquil's back flared to life as its flames burned in its combination of red and yellow flames. The monk was dressed in black robes with a blue sash stretching from his left shoulder and crossing across his chest to reach his right hip.
Very well, I am Monk Tai.
I am one of the many sages who act as a wall you must scale in order to fight our elder. Come at me with all you have if you wish to assure victory, young trainer Tai said as he drew a pokeball from his robes.
I choose you, Cyndaquil, Naruto said, and Cyndaquil ran from Naruto's side to stand in front of his trainer.
Bellsprout, let's go, the monk threw his pokeball and in a flash of white a Pokémon made up of a twisted brown stem, 2 leaves for arms and a yellow buttercup flower for a head formed.
A Bellsprout. Naruto smirked. Cyndaquil used tackle, Naruto said. Tai glared at the oncoming fire type. Bellsprout used Vine Whip, a green vine extended from Bellsprout's mouth and lashed out at Cyndaquil.
Dodge it, but keep going, Naruto called out. Cyndaquil quickly ran forward and skidded on his stomach to avoid the vine that sailed over his head before continuing to run and then slammed into Bellsprout's body. Now use Ember, Naruto commanded, and Cyndaquil's flames grew in size and intensity before small fireballs flew from the firemouse's maw and impacted with Bellsprout. The grass type was hit by the super effective move and knocked it out. Well done, but there are much more challenges to face, Tai said as he recalled his Bellsprout.
Naruto nodded as he ran from Monk Tai.
I just hope that previous challenger will acquire the ability to bond with his Pokémon, just like this young boy here, you will go far.
Naruto Uzumaki Tai thought.
Naruto ran around the bend of the floor and was stopped as he saw another monk. I am Monk Chao, prepare for battle, Chao said as he sent out a Bellsprout. Naruto wanted to use Cyndaquil again, but remember to use Pidgey, it was at level 7 and only needed a bit more experience before it could learn its gust attack. Naruto plucked the Pokeball from his belt before hurling it.
Pidgey, do it!
Naruto said as Pidgey appeared in a flash of white light. The normal/flying type let out a cool before taking to the air, flapping its powerful wings.
Bellsprout use growth.
Pidgey use tackle, Naruto commanded. Bellsprout glowed with a green aura surrounding its body as it took the head-on attack that sent it skidding backwards.
Good job, Pidgey.
Pidgey said in satisfaction.
Bellsprout, use Vine Whip, Chow told his Pokémon. The vine flew from Bellsprout's mouth and lashed through the air. Naruto's eyes widened, the attack was much faster and he noticed that when Pidgey was suddenly lying on the ground. It was much stronger and faster too. That growth attack must have something to do with it, Naruto thought as he whipped out his orange Pokédex and looked through it for the move. Growth, a move that is used by grass-type Pokémon to increase the power of their grass-type moves by raising their special attack. The Pokédex explained. Naruto nodded and then watched as Pidgey climbed to its feet. Right, Pidgey used Sand Attack to block Bellsprout's vision, Naruto commanded. Pidgey nodded before flapping its wings and kicked up a large amount of dust from the floor. Wow, we really need to clean this place, Chow said as he saw how much dust was kicked up. Now use tackle, Naruto said.
The dual-type bird flew through the smokescreen and slammed into Bellsprout, sending it to the ground as it flew away from Bellsprout after impacting with the foe.
Again, but this time, do a corkscrew with it, Naruto said.
Pidgey immediately turned back around and then just as Naruto instructed, Pidgey began to spin like a drill and increased its power and speed with the corkscrew before slamming hard into the body of the grass-type Pokémon, sending to the ground unconscious.
Naruto smiled as he watched the experience bar on his Pokédex move across the screen. Come on, just a little more, YADTA.
He screamed as Pidgey grew to level 8. He was, however, stopped as Wong took out another Pokeball.
Don't celebrate, just yet, go Bellsprout, the monk yelled.
Naruto glared at the grass type.
Alright, Pidgey, Ikuzo, Naruto yelled.
Pidgey performed a tackle attack.
Dodge it and then use Vine Whip,
Chow commanded to his Pokémon. The Sprout Pokémon nodded before jumping to the side and whipped the flying type with a green vine from its mouth. However, since Pidgey was partially flying type, it barely did any damage.
Use Sand Attack.
Pidgey whipped up another sandstorm that clouded Bellsprout's vision. Kyuso Wong cursed, Bellsprout use Vine Whip on the ground to launch yourself into the air, Wong commanded. Naruto's eyes widened as he saw the grass type lash out on the ground with its Vine Whip and launched itself towards the ceiling.
Nanny!
Naruto cried out in surprise. Cyndaquil also watched in horror as Pidgey no longer had the advantage of flight.
Now attack,
Wong said, however he never missed Naruto's smirk. You lose, you're in Pidgey's territory now, Naruto said. Pidgey used tackle, used the corkscrew maneuver, since that Bellsprout's in the air it can't dodge. Chow's slitted eyes would have widened if they could as he realized the mistake he made. Naruto was right, by putting Bellsprout in the air, he realized that his Pokémon would not be able to dodge unless it could fly, and unfortunately for him, Bellsprout could not. Bellsprout had attacked with a Vine Whip, but Pidgey performed a barrel roll to avoid it before rushing forward, spinning in the air as it clashed with Bellsprout before performing a loop-the-loop, and when it reached the peak of the loop, Pidgey dived downwards and slammed Bellsprout down into the ground.
And we win?
Naruto and Pidgey were surprised as they saw Bellsprout lying there, but twitching, meaning it still had some fight in it. My Bellsprout will not lose, Monk Wong said with determination. Your Pokémon is defeated, stand down, Naruto said, it's wounded, you should heal it. Not as long as Bellsprout is conscious. Naruto then looked at his Pokédex and saw what it had showed him on the screen. Well then, if you won't accept mercy, I will not give it, Naruto said. Pidgey, do it. Pidgey nodded before flapping its wings furiously as a large whirlwind formed.
Gust attack,
Naruto roared and Pidgey let out a loud screech before a brown dust tornado formed and flew towards Bellsprout. The flying type move was super effective and sent Bellsprout flying through the air and into a wall, knocking it out. Naruto, Cyndaquil and Pidgey cheered for their victory. You did great. Pidgey's eyes became upside down as it cooed in thanks for the compliment. Naruto returned the tiny bird Pokemon, now at level 9, to its Pokeball. Naruto then left the sobbing monk, and as he neared the steps to the second floor, he found a paralyzed heel and then put in his bag before climbing the steps. At each floor, Naruto used Cyndaquil and Pidgey, but mostly Pidgey to defeat the Bellsprout in the tower. He then started to use his other Pokemon. As he reached the last floor, his Cyndaquil had grown to level 13 and learned Quick Attack. Pidgey was at level 12, Spinarak was at level 8, Rattata at level 7, and both Caterpie and Weedle had achieved level 7, thus they had both evolved into Metapod and Kakuna respectively. Their data being registered in the Pokédex as they were registered as being caught.
Kakuna, the Cocoon Pokemon. A bug-type Pokemon.
Although it is a cocoon, it can move a little. It can extend its poison barb if it is attacked.
Metapod, the Cocoon Pokemon. A bug-type Pokemon.
Inside the shell, it is soft and weak as it prepares to evolve.
It stays motionless in the shell. He had also found many useful items within the tower, such as a few paralyzed heals, one burn heal, an antidote and one escape rope.
With Pidgey on his shoulder and Cyndaquil by his side, Naruto strode towards the final challenge of the Sprout Tower. Alright you two, let's do this, Naruto said as he walked up the stairs to the last floor of the tower. As Naruto and his partners entered the last floor's room, they heard the sounds of battle and looked to see someone already there fighting the Elder of Sprout Tower. Naruto immediately recognized him as the raven-haired Sasuke Uchiha.
Totodile, use Bite, Sasuke commanded.
The big jaw Pokemon immediately opened its wide jaws, exposing its sharp teeth before they clamped down on the stem-like neck of the monk's Bellsprout. Now throw it into the air before shooting it down with a water gun, the Uchiha said, and the attack was issued. Totodile smiled as he held the grass-type Pokemon in his jaws before slamming Bellsprout down on the floor before throwing it sky-high. Totodile. Totodile then released a blast of pressurized water that hit the grass-type and sent it plummeting back to earth before slamming onto the ground unconscious. We win, now give me the technical move, Sasuke demanded as he walked up towards the monk with his water-type starter.
The monk sighed. You have battled well, young one.
But you show no compassion towards your Pokemon, and as a result, you will lose one day to one who has achieved strength through belief and compassion towards their Pokemon, elderly said before handing Sasuke a small disc. Sasuke then turned, holding the T.M in his hand before spotting Naruto. Sasuke and Naruto glared at each other, along with Totodile and Cyndaquil.
Dobe, Sasuke muttered. Team, still upset about that loss earlier? Naruto smirked.
Sasuke scoffed. That was a fluke. I've caught a few strong Pokemon and now I'm going to crush that gym leader, Sasuke said, then I can get started in trying to find him. We'll see. And the two rivals parted ways as Sasuke used an escape rope to leave Sprout Tower. Naruto walked up to the final monk and bowed.
I am Naruto Uzumaki, I challenge you for the technical move, Naruto declared.
Cyndaquil cried out as his back flared up.
Pidgey cried out as the tiny bird began to flap its wings and glare at the elder in a menacing fashion.
The elder monk nodded. I am Elderly, the head monk of Sprout Tower.
Let me just heal my Pokemon and then we can begin, Elderly said.
After using a couple of revives and potions, the elder was ready to battle. Now young one, show me if you have what it takes to defeat the Sprout Tower, Lee said as he drew a Pokeball.
Go Bellsprout!
Elderly cried out. In a flash of white light, Bellsprout appeared on the floor.
Pidgey, let's do this!
Naruto cried out. The flying type took to the skies as it glared down at Bellsprout. Bellsprout use Growth, then follow up with Vine Whip, the elder commanded. Bellsprout was surrounded by a glowing green aura before a vine shot forth from its flowery mouth. The green whip lashed out, but Pidgey had the sense to dodge the attack.
Now Pidgey use Gust,
Naruto yelled.
Pidgey.
Pidgey rapidly began to flap its wings and then a whirlwind formed before a miniature wind tornado spun into life. The attack rocketed towards Bellsprout and sucked it into the wind vortex before it stopped and Bellsprout fell to the ground unconscious.
Well done, Bellsprout. Return.
A red beam returned Bellsprout to its Pokeball before the Elder drew another one.
Go Hoot Hoot, the Elder said.
A small brown owl with two black markings above its large, round, brown eyes that could only be assumed to be eyebrows and standing on one foot that seemed to be continuously alternating with a second hidden foot formed.
Nanny, I thought, the Sprout Tower only used Bellsprout? Naruto asked.
Lee smirked. I am the Elder, I am allowed diversification in my team, the Elder explained. Hoot Hoot, peck attack.
The owl-like Pokemon flew towards Pidgey, its beak poised to strike. Pidgey dodge and then use tackle attack, Naruto said.
Pidgey quickly performed a loop-the-loop and avoided the attack before soaring towards Hoot Hoot. Gotcha, the monk thought. Hoot Hoot dodged the tackle and then used peck. Hoot Hoot then copied Naruto's evasive maneuver before slamming its beak down on Pidgey's back, sending the other flying type to the ground. Pidgey quickly recovered though, thus it was able to take back to the skies and glared at the owl. That's a dirty trick, he copied me, Naruto thought.
Pidgey tackle attack.
Pidgey, this time, managed to score a hit and sent Hoot Hoot into the wall.
Now attack with gust, then follow up with a corkscrew tackle attack, Naruto cried out.
At the mention of the corkscrew, Lee became intrigued as to what that was and merely observed as Pidgey flapped its wings furiously as the tornado of wind formed once more and struck at Hoot Hoot, sending it spiraling upwards and then plummeted to the ground. Then just before Hoot Hoot was about to touch down on the ground, Pidgey dove down like a hawk on its prey before spinning, its speed and power increasing from the momentum.
Elder Lee's eyes were able to slightly widen as he saw the made-up move.
Pidgey scored a powerful blow with the tackle attack and Hoot Hoot slammed into the wall unconscious. Naruto watched his Pokédex screen and smiled as Pidgey achieved level 13. Then as he saw Pidgey returning to him, Pidgey's speed was increased as it unconsciously performed its recently learned quick attack.
Alright, you learned quick attack,
Naruto cheered for his tiny bird Pokémon.
Pidgey smiled and cooed upon hearing it had learned a helpful move. Excellent job, there Naruto.
That improvised tackle attack really caught me by surprise, Lee said.
Naruto grinned his foxy grin. But you haven't won yet. Ikuzo Bellsprout.
You'll just lose like last time, Pidgey returned. A red beam of light came from Pidgey's Pokeball and returned it to its confines. Alright, Cyndaquil, let's do this, Naruto said. Cyndaquil ran up to the front lines and its back blazed to life as flames danced across it.
Alright Cyndaquil, start things off with Ember, Naruto commanded. Cyndaquil nodded. Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil's back flames grew more intensifying before the male Firemouse Pokemon released a barrage of small fireballs from his mouth.
Bellsprout used Vine Whip to knock down that Ember attack,
Lee said. Naruto and Cyndaquil looked shocked as Bellsprout's vine lashed out and cleaved the fireballs in half, turning them into mere embers.
However, the Vine Wipe continued to move and then struck out against Cyndaquil, whipping it across its face.
Cyndaquil growled in anger. Cyndaquil used Tackle.
Cyndaquil charged forward and managed to score a hit, but Bellsprout merely skidded a few feet backwards instead of falling.
Bellsprout used Growth and then used Vine Whip, Lee shouted. The Vine Whip lashed out and then wrapped itself around Cyndaquil's neck.
Bellsprout lifted the Fire Mouse into the air and then slammed him down on the ground, causing the floor to crack slightly. Cyndaquil slowly climbed back onto his feet. A large bruise formed on his thigh where he took most of the impact from that Vine Whip.
Cyndaquil used Smokescreen and then use Ember, Naruto commanded. Cyndaquil released a column of smoke from his mouth, causing a black fog to shroud Bellsprout and Elder Lee's vision of the fire type. Then multiple fireballs flew from its depths and collided with the grass type. A super effective hit that had Bellsprout barely standing. Bellsprout, use your vine whip to blow away the smokescreen, Lee said. Bellsprout nodded and then whipped out the green vine and began to spin it like a fan before blowing away the smoke. Use quick attack. A blur of blue, red and yellow rocketed towards Bellsprout and struck home, causing the grass type to skid backwards. Now use quick attack again, Naruto said. Cyndaquil complied and unleashed a barrage of quick attacks. Bellsprout, quick, lay out your vine whip on the ground, Lee commanded. Bellsprout did as such, for as Cyndaquil charged forwards for another blow, he tripped on the vine and lost his balance. Now wrap it around him and slam Cyndaquil into the ground. The vine whip attack wrapped itself around Cyndaquil's neck and then carried Cyndaquil high into the air before bringing him down onto the ground. Then he was swung into a wall, then the opposite wall, before being repeatedly slammed onto the floor. Finish it, Bellsprout, Elder Lee announced. The grass type nodded before flinging Cyndaquil into the air and then jumped and flipped before bringing down the green whip that sent Cyndaquil down onto the wooden floor with a resounding slam. Naruto watched with wide blue eyes as he saw his partner fall to the ground. Cyndaquil! Naruto yelled as he ran towards the fire type. The flames on his back had disappeared due to the pain and Cyndaquil was covered in dust and bruises. Cyndaquil, are you okay? Come on, buddy, get up, Naruto pleaded. Cyndaquil lay there motionless before one of the fire type's legs twitched. Cyndaquil tilted his head and smiled at Naruto. Cyndaquil, Naruto smirked. He knew Cyndaquil was saying how that he wasn't done yet. I know that, but I mean, look at you. You're badly hurt, Naruto said. Cyndaquil got a defiant look on his face before, slowly, but surely standing on his feet. Quill! Cyndaquil's flames burst from his back and the fire type was still ready to fight. You're right, as long as you're up, we can't give up, Naruto said. Cyndaquil nodded before being enveloped in a white light. Cyndaquil. Lee, Bellsprout and especially Naruto looked on in awe as Cyndaquil's form suddenly began to change. Cyndaquil grew taller and noticeably longer. When the light died down, Naruto no longer saw a Cyndaquil. In Cyndaquil's place was a longer and taller version of the Fire Mouse Pokémon. Its top half was the same navy blue color, just a shade lighter, while its bottom half was still the same tan/cream color. Its eyes were no longer curved slits, but now large eyes that opened to reveal the crimson iris within that seemed to burn like the two flames on its rear and head. Quilava! The evolved form of Cyndaquil yelled out. Naruto's Pokédex beeped as he looked at the newly acquired information on his evolved partner. Quilava, the volcano Pokémon. A fire-type Pokémon and the evolved form of Cyndaquil. This Pokémon is fully covered by non-flammable fur. It can withstand any kind of fire attack. Alright, you evolved Cyndaquil, Quilava, Naruto said with happiness. Quilava smirked. Quill! Now let's kick this Bellsprout's ass, use quick attack. Naruto commanded and then with what seemed to be even faster speed, Quilava disappeared as a red and yellow blur before appearing in front of Bellsprout and tackled it. Now finished it with an ember attack. Naruto yelled. Quilava's fire on its head blazed before Quilava released a barrage of fireballs from his mouth. The attack caused a small explosion upon contact with Bellsprout and the Pokémon was knocked unconscious. Yada, we won, Naruto said as he hugged his fire type. Quilava smiled. Quilava elderly smiled as he returned Bellsprout to its Pokeball. You have done well, young Naruto, Lee said as he walked up to the two. Naruto and Quilava stood up before facing the taller man. As a reward for defeating Sprout Tower and also because I feel you deserve this, I give you the TM. Lee handed Naruto a small disc just like he did Sasuke. Naruto looked at it. It was a pale white disc with an engraving on it. TM70 Flash, Naruto read.
Hi, this move will allow your Pokémon to see in the darkest of places by emitting a bright light, Lee explained.
Naruto bowed. Arigato.
You're most welcome, Lee said, returning the bow, and watched Naruto leave using the escape rope.
Outside Sprout Tower. Naruto and Kalava appeared outside of Sprout Tower and then looked at the sky. The sun had already set and it was night time.
The only source of light being the stars, the moon and the flames on Kalava's body.
Seems we were in there longer than we thought, Naruto said. Quill Kalava Quill of Lava. Naruto looked at his partner as he spoke before sweat dropping. You do know, I can't understand you, right?
Kalava crimson eyes narrowed at his trainer and sweat dropped also.
Then the two turned as they heard the sound of running feet.
They saw Hinata running towards them with a worried look on her face.
Oi, Hinata-chan, Naruto called out.
Hinata panted slightly along with Eevee as they ran towards the blonde and the volcano Pokémon.
Naruto-kun, why you're alright, Hinata said with a small smile. I though as something terrible had happened to you since you didn't CC come out.
Nah, I'm fine, I creamed all of them, though they got stronger on the way to the top, Naruto explained.
Hinata then looked around with a worried expression before looking at Naruto. And Naruto-kun, where's Cyndaquil? Hinata asked.
Eevee was also worried for the safety of her Pokémon friend.
Naruto smiled and then pointed at Kalava.
Quill was all the evolved Pokémon said.
Hinata's and Eevee's eyes widened. You mean that? Hi, Cyndaquil evolved, he's Kalava now, Naruto said with a foxy grin. Well then see congratulations, Hinata said with a smile. Arigato, Hinata-chan. So how was your training?
He asked as the four began to walk towards the Pokémon Center.
It was alright. I trained with Cendret and Eevee.
I also trained Caterpie, but it was hard for it since it only knows T-Tackle and String Shot, but I made it work, Hinata said. I also bought some ball capsules and seals for the contest, Naruto nodded. There was a period of silence in the group as they entered the Pokémon Center and waved to Nurse Shizune.
Nurse Shizune, do you have a 2-bedroom room we could stay in? Naruto asked. Nurse Shizune looked at them and smiled. I think so, let me check. Shizune looked at the computer and typed a few keys.
Oh, you're in luck, we have one room like that left, straight down hall to the back, second door on the left.
Arigato, Naruto and Hinata said. Quill/V Kalava and Eevee said their cried in thanks as they followed their trainers.
Kalava was walking alongside Naruto when Eevee tried to touch Kalava's fire, but when the evolution Pokémon tried to do so, Kalava quickly retracted the flames so as to not burn the normal type.
Okay, here it is, Naruto said as he opened the door.
The room was rather basic. 2 small beds, a carpet-covered floor, 1 large window through which you could see the moon hanging there in the sky to bask the city in its silvery glory. There was also a bathroom.
Well, and Naruto-kun, we should change and sleep. Why you have a Gym B battle tea tomorrow, Hinata stuttered. Naruto nodded. You're right, Naruto said as he saw Hinata retrieve her pajamas.
Then Hinata went into the bathroom and changed into her pajamas, which was made of purple cotton with scattered pictures of Umbreon and Espeon with little hearts on it. Naruto had changed also, which was just a white t-shirt and a pair of orange sleeping shorts. The two then went to bed, Eevee and Kalava lying down on the beds that their trainers were sleeping on.
Good night, Hinata-chan, Naruto said as he flicked the light off. GG, good night, Naruto-kun, and good luck tomorrow, Hinata said.
Arigato, Hinata-chan, and your stuttering's going down, your voice sounds a lot cuter when you don't stutter, Naruto said with a small blush. The darkness obscuring it, and Hinata was extremely thankful for the lack of light because her entire face was red with the blood rushing to her face as she blushed.
The next day.
Early the next morning, Naruto and Kalava had trained by battling the wild Pokémon on Route 30. Naruto was able to train Kalava to reach level 16 by the time Hinata had woken up. He had left a note telling her where he was so that when she woke up to come and get him. After the morning training, Naruto healed Kalava before the four finally walked over to the nearby gym. Naruto, Kalava, Hinata and Eevee stood outside the doors that led to the Violet City gym. It was a regular traditional Japanese-styled building, but looked more like a dojo. There was no roof because the gym leader here used flying-type Pokémon. "Hey, are you ready, and Naruto-kun?" Hinata asked. Naruto gave a thumbs up to his traveling companion.
"Of course, Hinata-chan.
"Don't worry, Kalava and I are gonna beat this guy," Naruto said, and then the group walked through the doors to the gym. Inside it was rather spacious. The room was a bit bigger than the large rooms that made up the Sprout Tower's floors, which were pretty big. As Naruto and Kalava took a few steps, there was the sound of footsteps and the group turned to see a rather old man with long white hair. He wore a white shirt beneath a sky blue vest, a pair of dark blue pants that looked like what samurais wore and a pair of white socks and sandals.
"Konnichiwa, Challenger.
I am Shino, /N, the antagonist from Naruto Shippuden Movie 2, Bonds.
Gym leader of Violet City.
I am Naruto Uzumaki. I have come here to defeat you and get a gym badge from you," Naruto declared, pointing at the gym leader. Shino nodded and then clapped his hands. A young red-haired girl who looked to be at least 10 years old ran up to Shino. She was dressed in a similar outfit to the gym leader except her vest and pants were a light shade of purple.
"Amaru, we have another challenger."
"Hi, Shino-sama," the young girl, identified as Amaru, said. The girl ran to the side of the gym and drew from her vest two flags. One was red, to represent the gym leader, and the other was green, to represent the challenger.
"Alright," Amaru said, "this is a 2-on-2 match between Shino-sama, gym leader of Violet City, and..." What's your name?" Amaru asked with a nervous chuckle.
Everyone's sweat dropped at the girl's question. Shino face palmed himself as he shook his head.
"Oh, Amaru, this is embarrassing," the gym leader thought.
"Naruto Uzumaki from New Barktown," the blonde replied with narrowed eyes.
"Hi, so a 2-on-2 match between Shino-sama and Naruto Uzumaki from New Barktown.
Only the challenger will be allowed to use substitutions during this battle.
The use of items is also allowed," Amaru explained.
The red-haired girl looked back and forth between the two trainer and then brought down the red flag in a chopping motion.
"Hey Jime." "Alright, Pidgey, Ikuzo." Both trainers yelled. Naruto and Shino's Pidgeys looked at each other ready for an aerial battle.
"Ah, so you have also, well mine is stronger," Shino said. Pidgey used Tackle, the foe's tiny bird Pokemon flew towards Naruto and struck it with speed Naruto couldn't believe.
"Sugoi, that's fast," Naruto said.
"Pidgey, quick, dodge it and then use Sand Attack," Naruto yelled. The blonde's Pidgey nodded before performing a barrel roll to avoid Shino's Pokemon and then flapped its wings to kick a large amount of sand.
"Amaru, I thought I told you to clean this place," Shino yelled. Amaru's sweat dropped.
Whoops. The sand clouded Shino's and his Pidgey's vision before a small silhouette formed in the sand cloud formed.
"Tackle attack."
Naruto yelled and then Shino's Pidgey was struck in the chest by Naruto's own flying type that sent the Pidgey careening through the air.
"Now follow up with Gust."
Pidgey. The flying type began to flap its wings furiously and the tornado of wind formed.
The vortex flew towards Shino's Pidgey, who was sucked up into the tornado. Shino watched as his Pokémon was sent into the gust tornado, but merely smirked. "Why are you smirking?" Naruto asked.
"Because, I'm actually having fun in this," Pidgey use gust, Shino said.
"Nani?" Naruto cried out.
Hinata, Eevee and Kalava watched from the sidelines as a tornado formed within Naruto's gust, causing it to disperse and allow Shino's attack to continue through and suck in Naruto's Pidgey. Naruto watched as his own flying type was swirled around in the spiraling wind circulation system before being launched into the wall of the gym.
Pidgey slid to the ground, hurt, but not fainted.
"Come on Pidgey, get up," Naruto called out. Pidgey nodded and managed to stand on its feet, however.
"Pidgey, quick attack!"
Shino cried out, and then his Pidgey dove down like an eagle on a poor piece of meat and then struck forth, sending Pidgey to the ground.
"Turn around and strike again," Shino commanded.
The faux Pidgey nodded before circling back and knocking back Naruto's Pokémon to the ground as it continued to try a stand on its own 2 feet. Naruto gritted his teeth, his mind racing as he watched his Pokémon being continuously batted the ground. Then a brainstorm occurred. "That's it," Naruto whispered to himself. He then waited for Shino's Pidgey to circle around and dive down.
"Wait for Thiot, wait for Iot, now," he thought. "Pidgey, quick attack!" Shino yelled. "Sand attack!" "Nani?"
Shino watched as sand was kicked up and blinded his Pokémon. "Pidgey used tackle and used the corkscrew," Naruto yelled. Pidgeon nodded and spun, making itself look like a brown and white feathery drill that slammed into Shino's Pokémon.
"Now follow up with quick attack!" Naruto cried out. "Pidgey!"
Pidgey screeched before flying forth, leaving a trail of white and brown behind it as it sped towards Shino's Pidgey and struck home, sending the gym leader's Pokémon into the wall. "Now finish it with gust and quick attack." Once more Naruto's Pokémon kicked up a wind vortex that sucked in Shino's Pidgey before Naruto's Pidgey dove into the tornado and slammed into Shino's Pokémon. The flying-type gym leader watched in shock as his Pokémon was knocked out of the battle and into a wall by Naruto's own. Naruto's Pidgey panted and gave a smirk before landing on the ground to rest. "You did well, Pidgey," Shino said as he returned the downed Pokémon to its ball in a beam of red light.
"Yada, good job Pidgey," Naruto said.
His Pokémon's level increased, growing to level 14.
"Job well done, Naruto. However, can you beat my last and strongest Pokémon?" Shino asked with a smirk.
He took out a Pokémon and pressed the center button, causing it to increase in size. "Let's finish this," Shino said as he threw the ball into the air.
"What is it?" the 2 trainers and their Pokémon thought.
Pidgey glared at the Pokeball, ready to fight once more. The ball opened and in a flash of white light the Pokémon formed.
Pidgey's eyes widened as it saw Pidgeotto. The Pokémon cried.
The larger flying type had a cream-colored feathery underside as well as same-colored feathers on its face and lower wings areas. Red feet that had 3 long, sharp talons that looked like it could rip flesh from bone. Brown feathers covered most of its back, head, and upper wing areas. Atop its head, plumage made of long red feathers stretched from its head to its mid-back, and alternating red and cream colors made its tail feathers. Black feathers cupped its face and a single red beak, pointed and snapped at Pidgey. Beady black eyes glared at the shorter flying type.
"A peepee Pidgeotto, but that's Pidgey's evolved form," Hinata said with wide eyes.
"Haha, you'll never win with this Pokémon on my side," Shino said with a large grin.
"We'll see about that," Naruto growled in his mind. "Pidgey, quick attack."
The tiny bird Pokémon flinched from the call and shook its head. The intimidation ability finally wearing off before Pidgey glared and took off with tremendous speed. "Pidgeotto, tackle it," Shino said with a bored look. Pidgeotto nodded and with a screech it flew towards Pidgey and knocked it to the ground with a powerful full-body tackle.
Pidgey plummeted to the ground. "Now use Gust," Shino commanded. "Tada tada 2-2. Pidgeotto cried as it flapped its wings. Powerful winds swirled into one entity, forming a tornado. However, this one was much larger than one Pidgey could ever make even if it tried its hardest. The tornado swallowed Naruto's Pidgey, and then the tornado dispersed, showing Pidgey hovering in the air for a while before Pidgeotto performed a quick attack, sending the flying type to the ground. Naruto watched as his Pokémon fell before running out onto the field and catching it in his arms. Pidgey moaned in pain. "Don't worry, little guy, you did great," Naruto said with a soft smile. "You take a nice long rest." Naruto took out Pidgey's Pokeball and returned it with a beam of red light into the sphere of red and white. "Alright, Quilava, let's go," Naruto said. Quilava. The fur on Quilava's head and rear ignited before bursting into flames as it was ready to fight. "Ah, I see, a Quilava. Quite a rare Pokémon, however, you cannot defeat my Pidgeotto," Shino said. Quilava. Pidgeotto. Quick attack. Both gym leader and challenger commanded. Both Pokémon took off, leaving behind trails of color at the speed they moved at, colliding with one another as they battled for dominance. Quilava used Smokescreen to cloud Pidgeotto's vision and then use Ember. Naruto said. Quilava nodded before a cloud of smoke flew from the flames on its head and blocked Pidgeotto. "You fool, Pidgeotto has the ability Keen Eye, you cannot stop it from finding you," Shino reminded his challenger before Pidgeotto flew through the smoke using Quick Attack and struck Quilava. Quilava flipped in mid-air and landed on his feet. Ember, Naruto called out. Quilava's flames burned brightly before expelling small orange fireballs from his mouth. Pidgeotto dodged the all. "Now use Gust," Shino said. Naruto watched as his fire-type partner was engulfed by a tornado of wind and then thrown away into the wall of the gym. Quilava slid down the wooden wall and managed to remain upright. However, Pidgeotto used Quick Attack on the downed Pokémon, sending Quilava skyward. "Come on, Quilava, don't quit on me," Naruto yelled as he saw Pidgeotto about flap its wings for another Gust attack. Then Naruto remembered something that his mother had told him. Flashback. A young 5-year-old Naruto was going camping in the nearby grassy area of Route 29 with his mother. "Okachan, let's set up a fire, it's getting dark," the chibi-looking Naruto said with a scared look in his eyes. He ran over to the red-haired woman and clutched her leg, looking around for anything spooky. "It's okay, Naruto-chan," Kyubi Kushina called the Ninetales, and then using the small amount of firewood she collected, had Kyubi use a low-powered flamethrower attack to light the sticks, turning it into a roaring campfire. "Sugoi, Okachan, I want a Pokémon like Kyubi," Naruto said with a foxy grin. Kushina chuckled and ruffled the boy's hair. The wind then blew and the fire's flames climbed higher, which caused Naruto to stare in wonder. "Okachan, how come the wind made the fire bigger?" he asked, tilting his head to the side cutely. "Well, Naruto-chan, fire burns this thing in the air called oxygen. The wind blows the air towards the fire and therefore it brings more oxygen to the fire and causes more oxygen to be burnt. Thus, the fire gets bigger. Understand?" she asked at the end of her explanation. Naruto looked at the fire and nodded slightly. "Hi, sorta," Kushina chuckled and ruffled the blonde boy's hair. "You're such a smart boy." End flashback. Naruto's eyes came back into focus as he watched Quilava manage to hit a tackle attack on his foe before it could use Gust. "Pidgeotto use Roost," Shino said. Pidgeotto nodded before being surrounded by a sky blue aura, its wounds healed before it looked completely healed. "Quilava, come over here for a potion," Naruto said as he reached into his bag and pulled out the item. He sprayed Quilava with the potion and thus healed his Pokémon. "Right, well, looks like we're evenly matched," Shino said. Naruto smirked. "No, we're not, because I'm going to win, Quilava Ember." Quilava used the multiple fireballs to hit Pidgeotto, burning it. Pidgeotto suspended itself in the air, however it suddenly caught a flame before the flames vanished. "Alright, it's under the burn status," Naruto thought. Quilava used Quick Attack. You use quick attack too, Pidgeotto, Shino said.
The two Pokemon collided with each other and Shino and Naruto smirked, both for different reasons. Pidgeotto once caught a fire as the burn status affected it. It's over, Pidgeotto used Gust. At its close range your Kalava will be down for the count. Naruto-kun Hinata whispered as she watched her friend grit his teeth, but to her curiosity she saw a smirk find itself on the blonde's face.
Alright, now, Kalava use Ember on the Gust attack, Naruto yelled. Nani? Was what the entire room yelled out.
Hinata, Amaru, Eevee and Shino watched it all as the tornado formed by Gust was suddenly hit with the multitude of fiery orbs. The Gust attack suddenly caught on fire and due to its proximity to the attack, Pidgeotto was sucked into the flaming vortex.
You fool, your Kalava will be hurt also, even if it is a fire type, Shino said.
No, Kalava has non-flammable fur covering its entire body, Naruto said with a foxy grin.
Shino's eyes widened. Then that means. Naruto's smile grew larger as he saw Shino's scared face and nodded.
Hi, your Pidgeotto will be the one going down in flames. The fire tornado engulfed both Pidgeotto and Kalava before the oxygen that made the tornado burned up and then it vanished revealing a perfectly normal Kalava and a smoking Pidgeotto falling to the ground. Pidgeotto fell to the ground, but Kalava made sure to have it land on his back. Burning it was pain enough, having the Pokemon land on the unforgiving floor seemed cruel. Quill Kalava said to Shino before resting the bird Pokemon at Shino's feet and then ran towards Naruto happily.
Naruto smiled as he walked up to Shino.
Well, I'm getting old, I guess this new generation is better than mine was, Shino said with a smirk and held out his hand for Naruto to shake. Naruto did and then watched as Shino reached into his pants pocket and pulled out a shining silver badge. It was silver in color and looked like a pair of silvery wings. This is the Zephyr badge, your proof your triumph over me, Shino said as he handed to Naruto. It is yours. Naruto trembled as he took the badge. Hinata looked worriedly at the trembling blonde before seeing his head shoot up and a foxy grin plastered on his face.
Argiato. Hinata-chan, look, I did it. I won, he exclaimed to the girl. Hinata nodded with a smile.
Hi, gee, good job, and Naruto-kun, she said. Oh, also, Naruto, take this, Shino said, handing Naruto a small disc.
This is TM51, Roost.
This move is used by flying types and heals them when they're injured. You could teach it to that Pidgey of yours.
Arigato, Shino-san, Naruto said with a bow. Shino smiled and nodded as he watched the two trainers walk away before turning to Amaru.
Amaru, now listen to me, you saw how much sand was kicked up for that sand attack, Shino growled before pulling a broom out of nowhere and thrusted it into Amaru's hands.
The red-haired girl got the message and began to sweep.
And you keep sweeping until there is not one speck of dust left. You know, I could sue you for child labor, Amaru said.
But you won't.
I'll call child services.
Outside the gym.
Well, Hinata-chan, I won my first badge, looks like it's time for your first contest tomorrow, Naruto said.
Hinata nodded. But, I'm really nervous. I am not sure if he EV and I will win it, Hinata said.
Naruto sighed and then stopped before grabbing Hinata by her shoulder and forcefully turning her to face him.
Hinata-chan, look at me, he said.
Hinata looked up into his ice blue eyes, her blush rising due to proximity between their faces. You will win, and if you don't there is no problem, you can just try again at the next contest. You're a beginner coordinator, so if you lose it's no big deal, you can try again in the next contest and remember what I told you.
Keep confident and I'll be cheering for you in the stands.
The blonde smiled at the girl who blushed before nodding.
Why, you're right, I'll do my best.
That's the spirit, now let's see some of those moves you came up for, Eevee, Naruto said.
Hinata nodded. The next day.
The large amount of people who came to Violet City to see the contest seemed to have increased as Naruto and Hinata shoved their way to front desk to register Hinata.
Kalava and I will be in the stands, do your best, okay? Naruto said. Hi, Hinata said with a small smile. Hinata had gotten her dress for the competition and was ready for the contest. Mateo, Naruto-kun? She called out. The blonde turned and looked at Hinata, who was fidgeting. Would it be alright if I used Chukwalaba for the first part of the contest? She asked. Naruto nodded and smirked. Of course, he said as he bent down to Kalava. Now do exactly as she says, okay buddy? Kalava nodded with a smile. Quill and then Naruto left. Well, Hinata, you're here. Hinata turned at the sound of a familiar voice. The blue-haired girl turned to see the pink-haired girl that was Sakura Haruno. Oh, Sakura-chan. How are you? Hinata said. I'm fine, I just registered. Chikorita is ready, aren't you? Chico the leaf Pokemon said with a smile. So, which Pokemon are you using? Sakura asked. Hinata pointed down and Sakura looked to see the lovable little Pokemon that was Eevee and the fiery Kalava. Ah, Eevee is such a cute little guy. She then saw the Eevee glare at her, girl? She asked and then saw Eevee's face brighten up. Well, good luck to you and Eevee. By the way, where's Naruto? Sasuke-kun is going to watch in the stands.
You have no idea how much begging it for me to get him to stay and watch.
I have an idea, Hinata said with a smirk. Naruto-kun is in the stands. He's lending me Kalava for the appeal part of the C contest. I see, Sakura said with a nod. How is the blonde baka doing anyway? He won his first Gym B battle against SH Shino-san yesterday and got the Zephyr badge, Hinata said. Sugoi, Naruto actually got his badge. Sasuke-kun got his badge the day before, Sakura said. Then they heard a voice over the intercom. Will all coordinators please get ready for the contest, the voice said. Well, see ya, Sakura said. Hinata nodded before going to the changing room. Violet City contest stage. The crowd was roaring in anticipation as the stage lights focused on a single person who walked up to the front of the stage. Oh hey oh, Violet City! The person cried. The announcer was a woman with purple hair that was put up into a spiky kind of ponytail. She had black eyes and wore a black tank top with an icons on the front along with a purple miniskirt. A long black trench coat was worn over everything including her black high-heel shoes. This was Anko Midarashi, the annoying yet surprisingly attractive contest announcer. Damn these shoes, she muttered as she covered the mic. I should have worn my combat boots. Anyways, welcome one and all to the Violet City Pokemon contest. Today we have our 3 judges. The first is Ms. Tsunade, the gym leader of Celadon City in the Kanto region, one of the legendary Sannin and a former Grand Festival winner. I look forward to seeing the potential here today, the busty blonde said with a smile. Next is Deidara, our current Grand Festival champion. Pokemon contests are like art, it's a bang. The blonde man said as he brushed aside the blonde hair that covered his left eye only for it to come back to that spot. And Violet City's very own Nurse Shizune. I hope to see a good performance from each one of you worthy coordinators, the nurse said with a bow. Now let's see our first contestant, Ino Yamanaka from New Barktown. The platinum blonde girl smiled to crowd. She was wearing a flowing purple dress that she had held up so that she wouldn't trip. Alright, Sun-kun, show them how it's done, Ino said as she threw the ball-capsuled Pokeball. Sun-kun flew out in a flash of light as the seal on the capsule activated, allowing Sun-kun to be covered with many pink petals. Sun-kun used growth, Ino said, and then Sun-kun glowed with a green aura to enhance a beauty never seen before, performing a front flip and landing on the stage. Then just before the petals vanished, Ino commanded her Sun-kun to use Mega Drain. The tornado of red energy swirled into the sky, taking the pink petals into the energy vortex as the Mega Drain changed from red to green, /N. That's what happened in the anime, don't question it. Good thing I had Shikamaru give me this TM, Sun-kun used Sunny Day.
Sunkern nodded, and then a bright light, like that of the sun, glowed around Sunkern as the seed Pokémon was engulfed by the Mega Drain, allowing the energy tornado to appear to glow before dispersing into sparkles, and as the remaining petals from the seal scattered over the audience along with the sparkles, Sunkern used Grass Whistle, thus appealing to the judges and the audience's sense of hearing.
Ino and Sunkern then took a bow. Excellent use of the sunny day and Mega Drain, Tsunade said.
That was a bang, so pretty, Deidara said as he clapped his hands together. Such a beautiful combination, and that Grass Whistle was divine, Shizen said with a light clap. Ino left the stage as the next few competitors came on. There was one with a Ninetales jumping through its own fire spin and a Gyarados that performed dragon dance while spewing out the flames of a dragon rage and mixed it with a thunderbolt attack.
Alright, next is Sakura Haruno, Anko announced.
The pink-haired trainer ran onto the stage wearing a pink and red blouse with a white skirt that ended past her knees. Naruto clapped for her rather loudly, although he seemed to have toned it down to what he would have normally done after realizing how stupid he would look screaming his lungs out.
Sakura looked through the crowd, rather nervous.
She had spotted Sasuke, sitting in his seat as if he didn't care, but the light clapping he was doing made it feel as if he did. Alright, Chikorita, spotlights, Sakura shouted as she threw the ball. Chikorita appeared in a flash of white light surrounded by colorful flowers of red, blue and yellow.
Alright, Chikorita, first use Razor Leaf and juggle them with Vine Whip, Sakura demanded.
Chikorita nodded, and the leaf on its head released a number of razor-sharp emerald green leaves before the knobs on the leaf Pokemon's neck released two long vines that whipped at the leaves, keeping them then aloft in the air. The crowd clapped, knowing it took great hand-vine coordination to commit such a feat.
Now use poison powder and then safeguard, Sakura said.
Chikorita nodded before waving its leaf, and a purple powder surrounded it before a soft green glow originated from the center of the cloud of poison. The crowd gazed in awe at the beauty from Chikorita's combo. Now Chikorita used Razor Leaf to scatter the cloud, Sakura said before Chikorita did as commanded, sending out leaves that glowed from the safeguard that sent a trail of poison powder throughout the air in brilliant display of beauty and coolness. Sakura and Chikorita bowed.
What a wonderful use of grass-type Pokemon's moves, but... Tsunade got up and took out a Pokeball and threw it into the air.
A large lavender moth with large blue eyes came out of the ball in a flash of white light. You might want to get rid of the poison powder, Tsunade said as she had Venomoth use Whirlwind to blow the powder out the large window. The crowd chuckled as they saw Sakura laugh nervously.
My bad.
No worries, my dear, for your beauty and that of your Pokemon's attack made it all like a bomb waiting to blow, and when you brought out that combination of safeguard and poison powder, the bomb blew with a bang.
Job well done.
Sakura blushed at Deidara's comment. Arigato, Deidara-san. Such a beautiful display by Chikorita, I hope to see more of it, Shizen said.
Sakura bowed and left the stage with her starter.
Alright, the next coordinator, originally from Saffron City, but moved here to Johto with her uncle and cousin, here's Hinata Hyuga.
Yeah, alright, Hinata-chan.
Naruto whooped as he saw the girl run out on stage. Any further words caught in his throat, however, as he saw Hinata wearing a rather form-fitting dress. Her breasts were a C-cup, which was rather large for a 12-year-old, and the sparkling navy blue dress had slight shades of violet mixed within it to bring out her pale lavender eyes. She also wore a pair of black high-heel shoes. She blushed as she heard someone wolf whistle at her. Alright, Kalaba, I choose you, Hinata said as loudly as she could.
The Pokeball flew into the air and opened up in a torrent of blue flames.
Kalaba jumped out and front flipped, igniting his own flames that mixed to form a pale white shroud of fire around him.
Kalaba then spun and landed as the flames scattered upon his landing.
Sugoi, such a dramatic entrance, Shizun commented. That Kalaba looks like a battle Pokemon, but it's rather good at this contest, Anko added her 2 cents. Alright, just like I came up, Hinata thought. Kalaba use quick attack in a circle, then use smokescreen, Hinata commanded. Kalaba nodded before running around in a circle while releasing smoke from the flames on his head and rear. The smoke began to swirl as Kalaba ran faster and faster to create an ebony vortex.
Now Kalava jump into the cloud and use Ember. Hinata said. Quilava.
The volcano Pokemon cried out before running for a bit more and then jumping into the vortex and then releasing the multiple balls of flame. The wind generated from the vortex suddenly burst into flames as well as causing the smokescreen tornado to do so as well. Then Kalava continued to run in a circle with quick attack before jumping into the air.
Now use Ember again.
Kalava complied to Hinata's command and then fired a storm of tiny orange fireballs from its mouth that crashed into the fire tornado that caused it to expand and disperse, causing a large amount of red, orange, and yellow flames to surround the area where Kalava now stood. Hinata and Kalava bowed and Naruto cheered louder than anyone else, which made Hinata blush at the support she was receiving from her crush. The crowd's cheers astounded even the judges, for they never heard such a loud round of applause. That is just amazing. Such skill in the use of fire manipulation. The only trainer I know who was able to do that was Fugaku Uchiha and his eldest son Itachi Tsunade said. Sasuke, who was sitting in the crowd, twitched slightly at the names, his teeth gritted together. The Uchiha stood to his feet before leaving the arena. Excellent job, Ms. Hyuga. Your fiery end was like my art, it ended with a bang. Deidara commented. Excellent job, I hope to see more, Nurse Shizen said. Hinata bowed and left with Kalava. Backstage. The many coordinators were resting in the back. Hinata sighed in relief as it was over. Hinata, that was amazing, Sakura and Ino said as they ran up to her. Arigato, Sakura, Ino, Hinata replied. Where did you get that Kalava anyway? Ino asked. Naruto lent it to her, it was that weak little Cyndaquil, but look how strong it got in that short amount of time, Sakura said, he must have been training for a long time. Hi, Naruto-kun takes very good care of his Pokemon, Hinata said. Hinata-chan, that was amazing. The blonde in question yelled out as he hugged the timid girl. Hinata couldn't take it and fainted, the pressure of the contest and the idea of Naruto hugging her caused her to faint. AGH, Hinata-chan. Naruto yelled as the girl fell limp. Kalava and EV chuckled at the sight. Naruto, is this really your Kalava? Ino and Sakura asked. Naruto blinked. Yeah, why? Because it's really good, aren't you doing battles though? Ino asked. Arigato, and yes I am. But Hinata-chan wanted to use him for the appeal since EV doesn't know much appeal moves, he explained, petting the furry evolution Pokemon on the head. But she's going to use her in the battle section, Naruto added. Attention, the chosen for the battling part of the contest have been chosen. The images of the chosen will be shown on the screen, Anko announced as the screen mentioned slid down from a compartment in the ceiling. The pictures of Ino and Sakura showed along with 5 other coordinators and finally Hinata's. Hinata had then recovered as soon as she saw her picture. Oh, Hinata-chan, look, you made it, Naruto said, pointing at the screen. Hinata then looked and saw the pictures and saw she was in the battle segment, she made it. The pictures then scrambled to show that Hinata was facing up against a red-haired girl by the name of Sasami Fuma. I did it, she said with a smile, and then she saw Naruto smiling at her before ensnaring her in a one-armed hug. As a result, Hinata blushed extremely before fainting once more. Hinata-chan. Battle segment, Violet City contest stage. Alright people, it's time for the battle segment of this course. Anko shouted, causing the crowd to get hyped up. The first few battles were between Ino and a raven-haired girl called Akira. Ino had won. Sakura had faced off against her opponent and barely managed to win had time not run out, for her Pokemon was about to faint and she had only a sliver more points than her opponent. Next is Sasami Fuma versus Hinata Hyuga. Anko yelled. The 2 coordinators jumped onto the stage. Alright, let's go Clefairy, Sasami yelled. The small pink-colored fairy Pokemon appeared onto the field, its 3 claw-like fingers twitching left and right. Eevee, do your best. Hinata managed to cry out, her nervousness was starting to kick in again.
Hinata-chan, don't get nervous. I know you can do this. Naruto yelled from his seat. Hinata smiled and nodded before a look of confidence crossed her face. And let the battle begin. Anko yelled as the 5-minute time limit began to count down. Clefairy, pound. Sasami yelled. Clefairy ran towards the evolution Pokémon and brought down its hand. Eevee, dodge it and then use sand attack to blind it. Hinata commanded. Eevee quickly rolled to the side and dodged, causing some of Sasami's points to decrease. Then a small cloud of sand was kicked up into Clefairy's face, getting some of the sand particles into the Pokémon's eyes. Now use tackle. V. Eevee rocketed forwards and crashed into Clefairy's equally small body, sending the fairy Pokémon flying backwards. Some more of Sasami's points went down. Kyuso, Clefairy use pound again. The fairy Pokémon repeated the move, but as Eevee was about to dodge, Sasami smirked. Quick, rotate and use defense curl to build up momentum and then use double slap. Sasami told her Pokémon. Clefairy quickly rolled into a ball and rolled along the stadium floor before jumping into the air and descending upon Eevee. Eevee managed to jump back from the initial attack, but double slap allowed more than one strike, so Clefairy quickly moved forward and slapped Eevee twice in the face and then twice more. One more double slap followed up, making a total of 4 attacks. Now use pound, uppercut it. Sasami yelled, making her own uppercut movement. Clefairy slammed a pound attack to Eevee's chin that sent the evolution Pokémon soaring through the air. Eyes closed in pain from the attack. Hinata watched in shock as both her Pokémon and her points went down, her points nearly 3/4 gone while Sasami had only lost a little more than a quarter. Hinata's eyes rapidly moved side to side as she tried to think of a plan before she watched Naruto. His blue eyes watching her pale lavender ones. Then the idea struck her. Eevee flip in the air and then use tackle. Eevee's eyes snapped open before flipping in the air, causing some of Sasami's points to go down since her attack made Eevee look good. Then the brown and white furred Pokémon went forwards with a blur of speed. Run around Clefairy and use sand attack while doing so. Hinata yelled. Eevee nodded and before literally running circles around the fairy Pokémon while kicking up a multitude of sand. The sand began to swirl and twist, forming a miniature sand twister, and Sasami had finally lost a bit more than half her points. Clefairy's vision was obscured and the sand was buffeting the pink Pokémon, causing more and more of Sasami's points to go down, even if it was only by small amounts. 2 minutes were left on the clock. Nanny, Clefairy. Sasami watched as Eevee continued the tornado of dust. Now Eevee used tackle. Hinata yelled. Eevee nodded before rushing into the epicenter of the tornado and crashing full force against the body of Clefairy, sending the fairy Pokémon through the air and onto the ground. Clefairy continued to roll on the ground from the powerful tackle attack before stopping at the feet of its trainer. Swirls in its eyes indicating it had fainted. And there you have it, folks. Hanaya Hyuga, the already assumed dark horse of this contest, has pulled off an amazing victory against Sasami Fuma. Anko screamed into her microphone. The crowd clapped and cheered. Hinata looked at the hundreds of people and gave a small smile and wave as her signature blush lit up her face. An exciting battle, a dark horse is indeed what you are. That sand attack tornado was very original, Tsunade said with a nod. It went out with bang. Deidara said with a smile. We hope to see more of your hidden skill in your next battle. Nurse Shizen of Violet City spoke with a small bow and smirk. Hinata nodded with a smile before she and Eevee ran off the stage. The next battle was about to begin. Having won her battle, Hinata was about to battle her second opponent in the semifinals. The pink-haired, green-eyed girl that was Sakura Haruno. Hinata gulped as she walked onto the stage with Eevee. Sakura stood with her Chikorita, ready for a fight. Alright, the first battle of the semifinals of the Violet City Pokemon contest. The crowd cheered as the vibrant announcer, that is Anko Mitarashi, bounded back onto the stage. Now your first semi-final battle between Sakura Haruno and Hinata Hyuga. Hinata smiled and waved while Sakura gave a cheeky grin and performed a pirouette.
Naruto was looking back and forth, torn between his crush and his travel partner as to which person he should cheer for.
Now let the battle begin, there are 5 minutes on the clock. Anko yelled before the battle began. Alright, Chikorita, let's start things off with Razor Leaf. Sakura cried out. Chikorita nodded before whipping the leaf on its head and many leafy projectiles flew from it towards Eevee. Naruto-kun's watching me, I can't let him and most importantly Eevee, down. I'll do my best to beat Sakura, the Blueonette thought. Eevee, quick dodge it and use tackle. Hinata yelled. Eevee quickly rolled out of the way before rushing forth to strike Chikorita. Chikorita used growl. Chiku.
The yell echoed throughout the stadium and caused Eevee to cringe slightly due to its volume and lower its attack.
The tackle attack still struck home and sent the grass type backwards and some of Sakura's points to go down. Use tackle and strike at Chikorita's legs. Hinata yelled.
The aim of this was to cause Chikorita to lose its balance and thus have Eevee be able to easily take down the leaf Pokemon once it was accomplished.
Chikorita, jump and then use Poison Powder and Razor Leaf. Sakura commanded. Chikorita nodded before jumping high into the air.
Eevee stopped to watch in awe at the height the small Pokemon had achieved. Then the stomata of Chikorita's leaf opened and a purple powder enveloped it before Chikorita used Razor Leaf.
The poison-covered projectiles flew towards Eevee.
Hinata's points decreased by 1/4 as Eevee was struck by the razor-sharp leaves. Eevee panted as she was struck by the attack and then began to cringe as her fur was coated with tiny dots of violet dust. Oh no, Eevee's been poisoned, Hinata realized before seeing Chikorita charge in as the leaf Pokemon used tackle attack. Eevee was sent flying through the air and crashed onto the ground with devastating force.
Please Eevee, don't give up. Hinata yelled out as loud as she could.
Eevee stood on its paws and cringed once more as the poison affected its body.
Chikorita, use tackle again. Sakura commanded.
Chikorita charged forwards and Eevee could only cringe in pain as the poison continued to affect its movements. Eevee, quick get underneath Chikorita's body, Hinata said.
Eevee crouched and then managed to slide beneath Chikorita's body. Now use tackle to send it upwards.
Eevee slammed a powerful skull bash like tackle that sent Chikorita flying.
Ah, Chikorita. Sakura watched as her starter was sent flying before Hinata had Eevee jump into the air to meet it.
Now slam it down with your tail.
Eevee complied. VEE.
The normal type struck He grass type and sent it to the ground, creating a dust cloud as Eevee landed on its feet.
Panting, but standing.
The dust cloud cleared and Chikorita was bruised and covered in dust, its red eyes staring into Eevee's brown ones.
30 seconds on the clock. Anko told the audience. Eevee used tackle. You used tackle too, Chikorita. Both Pokemon crashed into each other with powerful full-body attacks. 10 seconds. Use Razor Leaf. Sakura said. Dodge and use Sand Attack with a tackle. Hinata retorted.
Eevee was struck by some of the many leaves, but plowed through to crash into the grass type's body.
Time's up. A loud blaring sound filled the arena as both Pokemon stood there panting.
The two competitors and the audience looked at the screen and gasped as they saw the results. Both looked like they had the same amount of points, but apparently Sakura had a few more than the pale-eyed girl and Hinata's eyes could only stare in shock.
And the winner is Sakura Haruno. What an amazing battle, it kept me on edge, the grass-type gym leader commented. It ended with a bang. The blonde Grand Festival winner said. It seems our dark horse lost. Personally I wanted Hinata to win, but all is fair in Pokemon, and Warshizen said. All that effort, all that training and I failed. Hinata's head dropped before she picked up Eevee from the field and walked away. Hinata-chan. Quilava.
Naruto and Quilava called from the stands, but the blue-black-haired girl made no movement whatsoever to answer her blonde crush, and Eevee made the same sign to the fire type.
Backstage. Hinata sat on a couch in the backstage room, having healed Eevee with the healing machine that was provided. The brown and cream-colored Pokémon looked just as glum as her trainer.
"It's not your fault, Eevee," Hinata told the evolution Pokémon. "It's mine. I'm too weak. I'm not fit to be a coordinator, let alone a Pokémon trainer."
Eevee. Eevee told her trainer. "Eevee's right, you know," a voice said.
Hinata and Eevee both turned to see the blonde trainer and his fire-type partner.
Quilava spoke. "Hinata-chan, you did the best you could out there.
That's what your and my Pokémon are telling you."
"But, and Naruto-kun, I.
She flinched as Naruto rested a hand on her shoulder.
"Hinata-chan, all successes are brought up from failures. That's what my Oka-chan always used to tell me.
She was a great trainer back in the day. I always thought she was the best female trainer there was, but I now realize what Oka-chan meant. Only by losing can one hope to achieve winning."
I don't understand," the pale-looking girl said. "Okay, it's like my Pokémon battles.
Having been on the brink of losing, I learn how to improvise and come up with different strategies to defeat my opponents."
"The same could be said for your contests.
By losing, you can develop the determination to become stronger and to make better appeals," Naruto explained.
Oh, was all Hinata could say before standing up. "Arigato, and Naruto-kun."
"No problem," the blonde said. Quilava and Eevee both smiled at seeing Hinata regain a bit of the light that once shone in her eyes. "Sugoi, I never knew you were such an orator," Naruto, a familiar voice said. Naruto, Hinata, Eevee and Quilava all turned to see Sakura standing there with her Chikorita.
"Sakura-chan?" Naruto asked with a small blush. "He's right, Hinata. Don't fret, everyone loses. It was your first contest as well as mine."
"It was by sheer luck that I was able to beat you by that sliver," Sakura said as she and Chikorita walked towards the fellow trainers and Pokémon.
"Arigato, Sakura," Hinata said with a small bow. Sakura smiled before she walked towards Naruto and whispered in his ear.
Listen Naruto, I'm not going to ever go out with you, but that doesn't mean you can't find love with someone else." Sakura glanced between him and Hinata. This act confused Naruto as Sakura said her last few words.
"Treat her right," and the pink cat left.
"I will never understand girls," Naruto blinked.
Violet City Contest Final Round. Now Sunkern use Grass Whistle and follow up with Mega Drain. Ino yelled.
Sakura's emerald eyes widened as she watched her Chikorita fall asleep before having its remaining energy ripped from its body.
Swirls replaced the starter Pokemon's eyes as it fainted. "And Ino Yamanaka is the winner," Anko yelled.
Ino and Sunkern walked up to Sakura and Chikorita, giving each other handshakes. While Sakura and Ino did, Chikorita and Sunkern just exchanged nods due to Sunkern's lack of hands.
"So, still feeling glum?"
Naruto asked as he watched Ino receive the violet-colored ribbon that was attached to the golden emblem of the Pokémon contests.
Hinata shook her head as she clapped for the platinum blonde girl.
"And no, I just have to not give up and keep trying, just like you, and Naruto-kun," she said with a small blush. Naruto chuckled and flashed his foxy grin, scratching his head like he always did when he was embarrassed.
The next day, the crowd that had come to see the contest had immediately fled the vicinity of Violet City, and Sakura and Sasuke having left early.
Naruto grumbled about having not being able to fight his rival and sat with Hinata as they had their breakfast.
Quilava and Eevee were having their Pokémon food. "So, Hinata-chan?"
Naruto asked as he gulped down the last of his breakfast ramen.
"Hi. Where do we go to next? What's the nearest gym town?" Naruto asked. Hinata opened her guidebook before scanning through the pages. WWL, The nearest one is in Iakrutik Sea City, but Nurse Shizen has said that there is some kind of obstruction in the way on our Route 36 blocking the way so that El leaves Azalea town, Hinata replied.
Okay, then let's go, Naruto said before grabbing his backpack. He and Kalaba then ran out the door of the Pokemon Center. The blonde and his fire-type partner smiled at each other before pausing as they heard two sets of footsteps. The two looked in front of them and froze before glaring at the figures, but the glare was directed at one individual alone. Having paused, Hinata saw Naruto and Kalaba, whose flames were now blazing on his non-flammable fur, staring in front of them.
Their bodies blocking the figures that Naruto and Kalaba were looking at. And then Naruto-kun, what's wrong? She asked.
The female trainer in Pokemon then looked to see two familiar faces.
A Spinarak rested atop the head of one while a Growlithe sat beside the second. Well, if it isn't the Dobe? The obnoxious male voice that Naruto hated oh so much, said before the face turned to look at Hinata and a lecherous grin spread across the boy's face. Hinata-chan, still hanging out with the Dobe?
Naruto growled as he continued to stare, along with Kalaba, at the trainer before him. Oheyo, Hinata-san, Naruto-san, the voice of the second figure said with a bow, adjusting the dark shades. Oh oheyo, Shino-kun, and she froze, her sentence stopped midway as Naruto released a name like it was venom. His blue eyes staring into the beady black ones of his second rival.
Kiba. That's it for this reading.
Hit like and subscribe for a free ticket pass going to the different worlds of anime fanfiction.
Looking forward to having you on board again.